San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From beaches to the ballparks, from the gas lamp to the counter, what knows America's finest city, He's a fourth-generation San Diego, born and raised in the heart of this community.
It's 73.
Always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Russ, can you tell those idiots to have this?
Braden Surprenant Show.
What's up, San Diego, and a happy Friday to everybody out there in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I'm back here in San Diego. Frank's out there in Baltimore. Today is USAA's Radio Row. It's also I think it's actually Media Row. Isn't it called Media Row? They have more than just radio there. That's why it's called Media Row. So we're at USAA's Media Row in some capacity. Frank Marchese's there. They have a great setup of our particular deal. If you want to go check it out, we posted on social media. They got our sign up there, the Braden Surprenant Show sign and everything that's going on. But I got to know, how's it been in Baltimore so far, Frank?
Half of this place has everyone, the other half has nobody, and it's all just a bunch of shuffling around. But there's a lot of great people here. I was able to, at least for me, I was very fortunate to be able to see Zach Gelb, who's here. I worked with him on CBS Sports Radio, now Infinity Sports Network. Robert Griffin III is here. We've seen a lot of incredible members of the military are here as well. It's a very, very inspiring place to be right now.
And we're going to have a good group of guests coming up throughout the show. Annie Agar is going to join us next. She is a social media influencer and NFL correspondent. You've seen a lot of her videos out there. I'm sure she's the one that pretends to do press conferences or does the inside joke with a lot of NFL teams. She does a really good job. She will be on with us in our next segment. Nate Boyer is a former Green Beret. Who also was a long snapper at the University of Texas. He has a very interesting and fun story. He'll be joining us at 10:35 later on. Not at USAA's Media Row, but KSON is doing their St. Jude radio telethon right now. And John Flint from John and Tammy in the morning will join us at 11:15 to talk about how everything's going with St. Jude, how you can help out with St. Jude. We'll have him on at 11:15. Later on, Zach Polega will join us at 11:35. He is a West Point grad. He represents Team Red, White, and Blue. He is a wounded warrior that is now doing a lot of great stuff with Team Red, White, and Blue. A very inspirational story that he has that we're going to discuss with him about later on. Guest-wise, Chad Steele. He is the Ravens Senior VP of Communications. His wife went to San Diego State. He's got some San Diego connections. He's got a nephew that plays high school football at Carlsbad High. Vice President of Communications for the Ravens. That's a job that, he's like a PR guy. He has to deal with the media a lot. He is the brother of Sage Steele. I think a lot of people know from ESPN back in the day. And he's got some pretty good stories about Eric Weddle and Tony Jefferson and some local guys that ended up playing with the Ravens. His dad is the first ever African-American football player at Army. So there's he's got a big Army ties. We'll talk to him about that as well. Skylar's going to join us at 12:35 live in studio. The queen of college football will be back with us at 12:35. We'll pick the first week of the bowl games until we see her again next week. Steve Claggett Jr. is a former Navy SEAL, and he's the Ravens head of character assessment out there in Baltimore. He will join us in the 1 o'clock hour, and he's got some pretty good stories about doing SEAL training here in San Diego. I mean, and a lot of that's the thing about being a military town. You're going to have a lot of San Diego connections with that. Unfortunately, for us being affiliate of Navy, we had mostly Army guests scheduled today, or people rooting for Army. So that will be interesting to see. But the other thing is our last guest of the day, Mike Mayock, former NFL player, former NFL general manager, longtime media guy. He is the Westwood One analyst. We got a great conversation coming with Mike Mayock to finish off the show, but we got a lot to get to. We're going to get to some Padres news as well. We're going to get to some winter meeting stuff. But, you know, this show is kind of about, and if we get news in baseball, we're going to pass it along. We're still going to do our sports thread. We're going to NFL whip around. We're going to get to the high school state championship games tonight. San Diego's got 4 schools playing for a state championship and playing for San Diego tonight and tomorrow. We'll talk about that later on in the show as well. But we have a packed show today for us, and this is a big day for USAA's Media Roast, big day for the Army-Navy game, which will kick off tomorrow and will be on 97.3 The Fan tomorrow. But you know, you've been getting it's the slow build, Frank. Your first time there, you're gonna be able to experience it, but it's a pretty cool experience out there at Media Row.
Yeah, yesterday was a little bit of a slog, if you will. I mean, there was a lot that was going on, and I was not awake enough for any of it. There's a lot going on. Honestly, I'm kind of debating on either one, skipping out on dinner, or B, just kind of leaving early just so I can kind of walk around and see a lot of the things that USAA has put out around here, see a little bit of Baltimore. I wrote the show yesterday staring at Pete Alonso's home for the next 5 years, which is not, and I'm not in Queens, which didn't make me happy. But yeah, today it's feeling a lot more real. I haven't experienced anything like this in my radio career yet, and going up and seeing the Armed Forces trophy down at the far end of the convention center hall here, that's kind of really when it starts to sink in that, yeah, tomorrow's not a normal game. Something very, very special is about to happen here tomorrow, and I cannot wait now for tomorrow to come around.
Yeah, it should be a fun time. So, you know, it's the 126th Army-Navy game presented by USAA. It's tomorrow, as we mentioned before. It's at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. It's marking the 7th time Baltimore has hosted America's game. USAA continues its longstanding support as presenting sponsor while expanding its activation footprint more than ever before, transforming the Baltimore Inner Harbor into a 2-day celebration of military tradition, fan engagement, community service. Should be a fun time out there in Baltimore. There's a couple other things that USAA is doing. There for the 4th straight year, they are doing their gifting recycled rides. This time, 2 repaired Chevy vehicles, 1 to an Army family, 1 to a Navy family in need. They partnered with National Auto Body Council to do that. Former Ravens quarterback Robert Griffin III surprised some families this morning with the vehicles and tickets to the game. USAA is doing the Army-Navy Rendezvous Point, which is a big free fan fest that's overtaking the Inner Harbor. I think you might have an ability to go check that out, Frank, if you haven't seen it already. Yes. But they have a lot of different things going on there. Interactive games, fireworks, Army-Navy themed programming, concerts. They had Jimmy Eat World last night. And they have a surprise country concert tonight. Frank, did they tell you who's performing?
I do know who it is. I don't want to.
Are we allowed to talk about it yet or no?
That's why I'm like, I don't know if I can, but I do know who it is. I do know who will be there.
Nice. You might have to tell me who it is after the fact.
Yes, will do. I will text that to you. Yes.
So that should be fun. USAA is also partnered with EA Sports to run a month-long Army-Navy video game tournament, which will have the live championship. They had the live championship earlier this week. But overall, it's the 7th time these two teams have met in Baltimore. Navy currently leads the series in this Army-Navy game, 63-55 with 7 ties. Winner of this year's game will win the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, if I'm not mistaken. I think both teams beat Air Force. Last year, Navy upset Army 31-13. Army had a good chance at potentially making the college football playoff last year with the win, and that was a catastrophic loss for Army. But it should be a fun time. The uniforms, we'll talk about the uniforms later. I know maybe we have some time right now. The uniforms are pretty cool. Army's got their Nike uniforms honoring the 250 years of the U.S. Army. Marble design referencing Arlington headstones, purple accents that represent the military badge of merit and the Purple Heart, silver helmet with the Espatoon emblem and Army seal, and a 1775 marker and great chain symbol on the uniforms. As for Navy, Under Armour school, their uniforms are honoring 250 years of the Navy. Topography from an act to provide naval armament, stone-colored pants with 126 knots and 6 ropes, copper helmet, copper sheathing of early frigates, USS Constitution hand-painted helmet side. All of the Navy helmets tomorrow will be hand-painted. But overall, should be a fun time. What's the scene right now at Media Row?
A lot of people walking around. We got a lot of guests here, a lot of handlers walking around, a lot of IT guys. I don't know if you've seen behind me, but our Philly fanatic from yesterday, Troy, was our producer yesterday. He went walking behind me. I've got Steven here with me. He's our producer today as well. He's also from Philadelphia. Justin's our first producer from yesterday is down the line there working on a different show. So it's very busy, very, very frantic. People running interviews, recording interviews, and right now we're kind of at the spot where a lot of live shows are going on as well now. So it's very active here and getting more so as the day goes on.
We're excited to get this show off and running. And coming up next, it's going to be a guest, Annie Agar. She was a social media influencer, big NFL popularity now. You see her on social media. She will join us next on the Braden Surprenant shows. We are at USAA's Media Row in Baltimore, Maryland. We're going to have more baseball news throughout the show. We're going to talk a lot of different things in sports, but it's going to be a lot of Army-Navy today. So when we come back, it's Annie Agar on the Braden Surprenant show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I'm Dan Nathan, the BetMGM Network, here to help you beat the books. One of the best college football games of the year on Saturday. Let's say the Army-Navy over 38.5. This game hit the over pretty easily in 2024, and both offenses have been good in 2025. Navy averages 32.5 points per game, and Army averages 23.2 points per game. I think both teams will have plenty of success finding the end zone. Take the over 38.5. Bet smarter, beat the books. Download the BetMGM app today. Please gamble responsibly.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife, and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it instantly. There's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/play.
Hey, football fans, tune in this week to kick off with Boomer and Valenti, where the guys break down the biggest headlines and storylines from across the NFL. Kick off with Boomer and Valenti is brought to you by the Home Depot. When the job calls for the best, call on Makita, available at the Home Depot. How pros get more done.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation, so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. quo.com/sports.
Hello, it is Woodsy. I'm talking about massive holiday savings over at Sedano Ford in Lincoln, your proud local veteran-owned dealer. Thanks to you for choosing them over every other Ford store in town. They're celebrating the season of giving with incredible deals. Right now, drive electric with the powerful Mayock E Premium for an amazing $349 a month. That Mayock E offers thrilling acceleration and 0 emissions, the perfect way to upgrade your San Diego commute. If you need a legendary truck or SUV, the dependable F-150 STX can be yours for just $399 a month. It is built for a tug, ready for all your towing and project needs. The rugged Bronco Sport Big Bend is an unbeatable value of $279 a month. It is standard 4x4 capability. It's ready for adventure. These prices are incredible, but they will not last. Stop by the local and veteran-owned Sedano Ford and Lincoln today. Don't forget to tell them that Woodsy, my old pal from 97.3 The Fan, sent you. Make sure to visit SedanoFord.com for all the inventory and all the details. Ho, ho, ho! Merry
Continue our coverage at USAA Radio Row out in Baltimore, Maryland, where Frank Marchese is at. I'm back here in San Diego, obviously, but still celebrating Army-Navy. And joining us now, a social media influencer, an NFL correspondent. I think you've probably seen a lot of her TikToks and her Instagram reels. Her name is Annie Agar. She joins us on the Braden Surprenant Show. Annie, what's going on? How's your Friday?
Oh, I'm doing great. Got a cup of coffee, talking Army-Navy. It's a beautiful morning.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful morning here out in Southern California. So
yeah, I wouldn't say the weather here is beautiful, actually. Let me take that back. It's a little cold.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit chillier than we're experiencing out here in America's finest city. We got a high of 73 today. So you guys bundle up jealous. Over there in Baltimore. But Annie, let's talk about Army-Navy for a second before we dive into, how you got to where you are right now. As we were talking off air, it's your first time coming to Army-Navy, and I know you're really excited. I know Frank's very excited, but from what you have been told and what you know about this particular game, what excited you to or led you to get out here and be part of Radio Row and be at the game tomorrow?
Yeah, what's so fun is every time I tell somebody I'm going to Army-Navy, they're like, oh, that's bucket list. Like, I don't know if people know this is one of the coolest rivalries in sports. And I was so excited so I partnered with USAA and they reached out. We did a deal with them a couple years ago, And I'm super big in giving back with, the military. And I did some stuff with this military family 2 years ago. And I think he was in the Navy. So it was just a really cool, they saw that content that all aligned. Recently, we did something for Salute to Service Month with the NFL. So it just was like all came to fruition with this game, I think, with my content that I put out around the military. So USA brought me out here to do some content around the game and just kind of show people what an Army Navy game is like, because like I said, this is bucket list.
Yeah, super bucket list. As somebody that's been a couple of times now, I get the same reaction from people when I say, "Oh, our show's going Army Navy," and they're like, "Oh, I've always wanted to go to that game." And there's a lot of times where people are like, "Oh, the triple option team, it's boring on TV." I'm gonna tell you right now, when you go and you physically watch it in person, it gives you a different perspective on the game, and especially with like the Radio Row. I mean, how's your Radio Row experience been so far as you start touring around all these different radio stations?
I feel like I haven't even seen the majority of it yet. Super Bowl. It gives me a Super Bowl feel. And I'm blessed enough to have been, this will be my 5th Super Bowl that I'm going to this year. And it's just like this energy around, I'm sure you guys know this too, but it's just everybody is so excited for the game. And there's only so much to talk about leading up to it that by the time the game comes, you're kind of exhausted about talking about it. And you're like, all right, just get to the game. But it is just a buildup all week of, talking about this and being on different media outlets and stuff. So it's high energy in Radio Row right now. And I'm pumped.
Let's talk about you and how you got into this gig. Obviously, social media was a big influencer as well, but you went to Grand Valley State class of 2018, and studied sports broadcasting, pre-law and sports broadcasting. I have a sports broadcasting degree from TCU just the year before in 2017.
Love it.
Had a friend play lacrosse at Grand Valley State, so I have
you're kidding.
Class of 2017 on the girls lacrosse team. So
wow.
yeah, what a small world. So I actually know about Grand Valley State.
I was going to say, I usually have to bring up like Brian Kelly or Matthew Judon for people to know where Grand Valley is, but
yeah,
that's awesome.
There's we have some people from San Diego that go and attend Grand Valley State, apparently, Annie. So
that is wild.
it's a school that I've heard of before. You got into, TV news and was a reporter. And then all of a sudden you started to do some other stuff and getting involved with social media. What kind of led you to do some of these, fun TikToks and other comedy level videos on the NFL?
Yeah, the goal was always ESPN for me or some big network, because I love sports growing up. And when you just mentioned it, when I went to college and that was my degree, and I kind of always was shooting for that job. And then I was told by people in the industry, you got to work in local news, you got to grind, work your way up. So I was in local news during COVID. And obviously that all shut down. We didn't have high school sports to cover. There was nothing. We'd moved to news for a little while, and then everybody just kind of stopped working because it was so uncertain. And I had gotten on TikTok. I'd moved back home with my parents because I had no money. And so I'd gotten on TikTok in my childhood bedroom. And I thought, what if I do a video talking about the Big Ten getting football up and running again after COVID? Because we didn't have anything sports-wise to talk about. So I did this kind of roast comedic tone to it. And it took off, and overnight it had 3 million views. And I think it was because people wanted that comedy during that time. And I think I hope I just, felt that, and I saw a need for it. So I started doing them. And then that led to the other conferences. So that first one was a Big Ten one. I did the other conferences, and then it led to these weekly NFL meeting videos. So it's just incredible to me how it all kind of came out of COVID. And I'm just so grateful for it.
Yeah, the local news thing pops up in my head. I mean, I know a lot of people are grinding through local news. I mean, how difficult is that? I mean, a lot of people see like stars like they're like local celebrities, right, on television, but it's a lot of work, it's a lot of effort. It's not a lot of pay, and it's definitely a grind for all the young kids out there that are trying to do it. I mean, what's your advice for young reporters at local news stations that are all over the country trying to do what you did and work their way up the ladder to achieve that Annie Agar dream that you've been able to achieve?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's a great question, because if I ever talk to people, especially younger, like, kids in college who want to start this social media career or ask me kind of how to do it, I always say that, I mean, obviously I learned a lot in local news. So the grind point that just comes with the job. If you want it that badly, you've got to go out there and do the work. But I think when it comes to social media, everybody is scared to put something out there because they think nobody's going to watch it, or somebody else is already doing it. That's the biggest thing that I hear from kids these days as well. Like, if there's other creators doing that kind of content, there are so many people in this world. If there's something that you're passionate about, I guarantee somebody else out there is thinking the exact same thing. Like, it just statistically, it has to be true. And I see it all the time on TikTok. There's a random video talking about some niche thing, and I'm like, wait a second, I resonate with that because I was thinking that the other day too, or something. There's always going to be somebody that relates to what you're talking about. So do the content. If there's something that you're genuinely passionate about, that will come through in the content, and people will see it. So I tell everybody, just do a couple videos, start. That's what I did. Like, I didn't know people were going to watch my stuff at all, and now we're here 5 years later. So if there's something that somebody's passionate about, I would just start making videos on it, and you'll get a feel for it. It's there is work behind it. It's not just all luck, obviously, but yeah, I tell them, get out there and figure out what it is that they care about the most, because that will show in the content for sure.
Well, one of our colleagues, Sam Levitt, I don't know if you know who Sam Levitt is. He's the one that does and with that, the 2025 season comes to an end.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've definitely used his audio before.
Yeah. So he's one of our colleagues. He does the pre and post game show for the San Diego
That's
Padres
amazing.
on our radio station. And we watch Sam do all the social media stuff around Petco Park. And it's a massive production. I mean, we just talked about the grind of local TV, but for a lot of people that, might be, probably more envious than anything else about, like, oh, they just make a video. What's the day like for you in trying to create these videos? How much time does it take? What's the work put in to trying to put a lot of the ones that have gone viral out there on social media? What's a day in the life of Annie Agar?
Well, thank you for asking that, because it is a lot of work, and I would never complain about these meeting videos because I love them. But it is, so all day Sunday I watch Red Zone, and I'll have two more TVs, one with usually a Packers game if the Packers are on in my area, and then whatever other big game is going on, and I'll take notes all day and kind of write up a script idea, but I'll just basically watch the games and consume all that. And then Monday I wake up 6 a.m. and I research 7-8 hours, because I could make a joke from my perspective and think it's funny, but I want to hit those like inside jokes for each fan base and really show that I've done my research and I know what's going on. So, and those kind of jokes are what get fans. They're like, oh wow, like I can't believe she just referenced that or made that joke. So I really try and do my research and do my due diligence, and that's all day Monday. And then the shooting the actual video is probably 3 or 4 hours, and then I watch Monday Night Football, rescript try to bring in that game. I usually end the video with Monday Night Football, so I'll write that up, and then wake up at like 3 a.m. to start editing, edit for the first round of edits, and then I'll go reshoot for Monday Night Football, edit again, and hopefully get it out by noon on Tuesday. So I mean, for 2 days I don't answer calls. I just do the video, and my agent knows this. She's like, Monday she's out. She's incapacitated. I have to go just focus on this video 100%. So there is a lot, and there's a lot of research in social media, right? Like if I do a certain trend that's old news now, like that, it could change week to week. So it seems so silly that it's just a 2-minute video and that's my job, but there's so much research and I don't know, analytics that go into it too that people might not know about. So yeah, it's a grind for sure.
We're talking with Annie Agar. She's an NFL correspondent. She's a TikTok star. You've probably seen a lot of her NFL videos out there for Army Navy at USAA's Radio Row. We've asked everybody this question. I mean, a lot of people usually have a side of who they're rooting for in the Army Navy game. Do you have any connections to Army or Navy to make your pick for tomorrow?
You know what? I'm an underdog supporter till the day I die, and I told USAA when I got here they gave us jerseys, and the jerseys, guys, they're the coolest things. The uniforms this year, so cool. So I said, just pick a side and give me that jersey. So they gave me Army. So I'm kind of on Army's side here. I think I'll take the underdog.
All right, going with the underdog. Well, we're an affiliate of Navy, our radio station, big Navy town out here in San Diego.
Because isn't there a base out there?
Yeah, we have a lot of bases out here. We have Coronado, the SEALs train here. We used to have Top Gun over at Miramar. We have Camp Pendleton. We have a big, huge Navy town here
Top Gun
in San
is
Diego.
like my favorite movie of all time, so I should be on Navy side. I'm, you know what? Whoever wins tomorrow, America wins.
America wins. Exactly. Coming from a Navy town, it's usually Navy, but I had 2 relatives serve in the Army. So then it's Army. And then I coach high school football out here. And one of our kids was on Army for a while before he transferred back to San Diego State. So couple of the Army Navy games I went to, I was there rooting for Tana Latuli, one of the Army players. So I think for me, it kind of changes back and forth a little bit, but it seems like everybody has a side, Annie.
Yeah, that's how it is out here too. People be like, "Oh, my dad served in the Army, but then I have Navy ties," and so it's kind of back and forth. It's a wild rivalry. I've never experienced anything like this. It's so fun.
Well, I know you're very busy. I know you got a lot to get done. I know you got to get ready for the NFL on Sunday as well. We really appreciate the time, Annie. Thanks again, and look forward to talking to you again.
Of course. Thank you guys so much.
It was great talking with Annie Agar about a lot of different stuff. I mean, she did such a great job with that. A little insight on what she does, but also she's killing me on the Navy base things. You guys have a base out there? Yeah, we got a couple.
Come on.
Especially if Top Gun is her favorite movie. Come on.
I mean,
come on.
Everyone forgets minor details. Come on.
The minor detail that the entire movie is filmed in San Diego. Hamby was losing his mind over here.
Listen, minor details.
I'm just saying. I mean, we knew where Grand Valley State was. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, Hamby. Come on now.
It's our job to cover. It's our job to cover every single sport. It's not her job to cover what military base is where.
Yeah, most people know that San Diego is a military town. All right, when we come a little bit later in the show, we're going to get to the final summary of the 2025 MLB winter meetings, which happened in Orlando. Some other information that's come out. Did you see the other passing bomb today?
No, I did not.
It's not really a passing bomb.
I've seen a couple of things. Like I know the Royals did something. I know the Marlins signed Christopher Morel.
Yes.
I didn't see that.
There's a couple of things that are happening today. When we come back, we're going to talk about that. And we are going to be joined by another guest out there in Baltimore. A former Green Beret has a pretty impressive story as well. So we'll get you an update on Major League Baseball and meet our new guest, Nate Boyer, when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan.
Quinn and Chris on the Fan.
And
August on 97 to the Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. We are back. Frank's at Army Navy at USAA's Media Row. I am back here at 97 through the Fan. We just had surprise guests of the San Diego Mojos here today, Frank. So they stopped by and dropped off some gifts. So that was a fun conversation. They perked up when I said I used to play volleyball in high school and knew all the volleyball stuff. Plus, Indiana, Texas was on TV. We have ESPN is on in the studio right now, Frank. I know you're against that, but Hamby's got it on in here, and it's the NCAA regional final between Texas and Indiana, and Texas just won. They were just constantly just looking up at the volleyball the entire time. But they start their season off soon, so they came by. They gave us Hamby's got a little Santa hat. Let's check it out real quick. There's Hamby's Santa hat that he's got, the Mojo Santa hat. They gave us a little booklet, some other stuff, and San Diego Mojo getting started soon.
There you go.
Yeah, how about that?
Included in the gift giving?
Yeah. I mean, you could have
thank you.
Some of that stuff.
Mojo.
So the Mojo came.
Well,
all right.
Don't make it sound like you weren't expecting me. Jeez.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Hamby might walk away with your stuff. He's already got your hat on, so sorry about it.
Is.
What are the news and notes from baseball today? It sounds like Jeff Passan reported a move for Kansas City. It sounded like Ken Rosenthal reported a move for Miami. What do we got today, Frank?
Yeah, so right now, from what we're seeing, coming off of, this is reading this off of MLB.com, coming off an all-star campaign, third baseman Mikhail Garcia has agreed to a 5-year extension with a club option for 2031 with the Kansas City Royals. That was reported by Mark Feinsand earlier today. The Kansas City Royals thus far have not confirmed this. If the 2031 club option is picked up, Garcia's extension bought out 2 years of his free agency. So Garcia, 25, now avoid, I believe this would avoid arbitration and will lock him into a 5-year deal with the Kansas City Royals.
So those are the two big moves. There's something that happened from the leadoff spot on MLB Network that we're going to get to at 11 o'clock, Frank. We're going to play some sound on it that involves the Padres and the Mets, potentially. So we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But we are about ready to get joined by our next guest. He is a former Army Green Beret who served in both Iraq and Afghanistan over a 10-year military career. In 2015, he became the oldest rookie ever drafted in the NFL by the Seahawks out of Texas, because after he spent his time as a Green Beret, he got into long snapping and walked on at the University of Texas. He is now doing some other things in Hollywood as an actor and a producer and a director. His name is Nate Boyer, and he joins us right now. And Nate, I mean, you got a pretty impressive story, but, you know, take us through like how you became the Green Beret and the story of getting into the military.
The motto was really what pulled me into the Special Forces. I mean, I knew I wanted to join the military after I did some relief work over in the Darfur, which is a region in Sudan in 2004. And I knew I wanted to, you know, serve in the American military after that. I just didn't know exactly what. And coming to the States and learning, coming back to the States, I should say, and learning about the Army Special Forces and De Oppresso Liber, which means to free the oppressed, which is the Special Forces motto, really spoke to me more than any other unit. And obviously it's a challenge to make it as a Green Beret and all that. But that was what inspired me. It was spending time, honestly, in Africa with people that were very grateful that someone would leave what they had here to go help them there, and to serve in some capacity. And yeah, that humanitarian element of what the Special Forces does, I think, spoke to me more than any other job in the military, regardless of branch. So it kind of made sense for me, and you know, I poured everything I had into that, and was fortunate to be able to make it and you know, and earn the Green Beret and be a part of the Special Forces for my entire time in the military.
2015 was the year you didn't get drafted in the NFL, but you got to go to the NFL a little bit, and it's also the year that you started and founded with Jay Glazer, merging Vets and Players, MVP, a foundation to support military veterans and retired athletes. What do you do with this organization? What did you start it for? What are some of the biggest problems that you're addressing with this Veterans and Players MVP organization you have?
Yeah, and you know, whether it's a camouflage uniform or a jersey, walking away from that or getting cut, you know, whether it's on your teams or on your terms or not, it's tough. It's tough to lose that community, lose that tribe, lose the locker room. And most of us are pretty young when that happens, you know, 20s, 30s, and feeling like you've peaked and you'll never be great again is a tough thing. And I've encountered a lot of athletes, even Hall of Famers that go through this, you know. It's hard to let go. It's hard to move on. Look at Phillip Rivers, you know, 5 years out of the game. And, you know, I mean, it's amazing. It's a really cool story. I'm all for it. But I think about that when I see him back up at that podium and how alive he seems. And I'm not saying that for the last 5 years he was an unhappy man. I don't know. But it's one of those feelings that I think people just generally we have often when our time comes, and it's like, all right, I got to move on to something. Maybe not kicking doors down anymore. You know, maybe my body's not suited for it, or you know, it is a young man's game. But you still think in the back of your head, like I know I can still do it. You know, I still got it in me. Athletes feel the same way. So vets and athletes share that, and it is a challenge often walking away from, you know, that tribe and that community. And so that's what merging Vets and Players does. We recreate the locker room. You know, it's all about leaning on one another, and we look up to each other. They're kind of heroes to each other, the veteran and athlete community. And so it's like, how can we continue to push one another and be there for one another, and you know, and really encourage those people to continue to be great, regardless of what uniform you wear moving forward.
Been a Green Beret. You've played football at the University of Texas. You started a foundation, but now that you got into acting too. So now you're an actor, and you even produced, directed films like MVP. What kind of storytelling lane are you trying to open up for veterans through entertainment? And how did you get into the Hollywood side of things?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super important. Look, they're going to tell our stories one way or another, the veteran stories, right? Hollywood's going to do it, and they should. I think it's good, but the more we're involved in that process, I think it's important, not just for authenticity, but just because I think we earned it. If you're interested in that space, you earn the right to be a part of telling your own story. So that's for me, that's what's most important. MVP, that movie, I co-wrote it, I directed it, I produced it. We had no money, so I didn't have to pay any of those people. But when I'm casting it, it's like I ended up casting all veterans to play the veteran characters because I knew they would bring that authenticity, as I said, but also like the work ethic and the hustle, and they'd be down to figure it out. And being on a movie set, it's not like combat. There's no bullets whizzing by your head, but it is like a training mission. Like every day something goes wrong. It's hurry up and wait, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, we got to do this right now, and it's got to be perfect, and the sun's just as it needs to be, and you have to have that mobility that veterans have, and so I just think we're just suited for that world as well when it comes to like film and TV. But now from a storytelling side, no matter what it is, what the medium is, I think it's important. If we're telling these stories about those of us that signed up and we're willing to do that, I think we need to be involved every step of the way. I'm working on a D-Day documentary right now. Obviously, I wasn't. Well, I don't know if it's obvious, but I wasn't in D-Day. I wasn't involved in World War II. But being somebody that also served in the same military, even though it was a very different time, like there's certain things I know not to ask, or how do you handle the situation, and how do you make this person feel comfortable sharing a very intense story. Not everybody maybe has that nuance just because they hadn't lived that experience, and I'm fortunate to be able to do that. But yeah, to speak on MVP one more time, yeah, that movie, like I said, we made it for nothing, but it's on Netflix now. We made it happen, and it certainly wasn't just me. It was a group of veterans. Pretty much every department head except for our DP is a veteran. Like they just were like, all right, let's just solve this problem. Let's figure this out. Let's make it happen. And that passion and drive and the resiliency that we developed from time in the military, it just translates to the screen, in projects like that. So very proud of that.
Hey, I mean, did you just have the idea of I just want to start writing a movie? Or, I mean, how did you get into the script writing and the directing? I mean, with not a lot of experience, did you get help with that? I'm so fascinated by that because of all the things you've been able to do. That's another difficult thing to just hey, let me just make this movie out of thin air. How did you piece that together? How difficult was that for you? Somebody that has accomplished a lot of difficult things.
I mean, it was definitely hard, but worth it. I did an internship with Peter Berg, his production company, Film 44. I was making coffee and, getting lunch and doing all the intern things. But just having a chance to watch those people work and kind of learn and just be a fly on the wall. I tell everybody, I recommend this no matter what industry you're interested in getting into, veteran or not, be willing to work in the mailroom for a little bit. Just start there. Just get in the door, and you never know what's going to happen. You'll find your way.
You've preached that. You've practiced what you preach. You've done that in 3 different industries. I mean, you did it for the military, obviously. You did it for football. You now done it for TV and film. What industry do you want to tackle next, Nate?
I think this is it. I don't know. I don't know if I want to start a new one. I'm 44. Probably about halfway home. But I'm gonna, the filmmaking thing, the unique part about that versus military or sports is I can do it forever. We can do it forever. And so that's, and it will never not be challenging. So I'm all in on that, and it means the world to me just to get the opportunity to do it here and there, and even just talking to you today, like we're storytelling, right? This is cool, and I'll do it until they tell me I can't.
Nate, I know you're very busy. Got a lot of different interviews to do today. Real quick, what do you got on Army Navy coming up tomorrow? Obviously, you're probably rooting on Army, but what does this game mean to a lot of different people?
Yeah, I mean, it's Army by a billion. That's an obvious question. Answer to an obvious question. Sorry, but no, it means a lot. I mean, it means everything. It's the only game tomorrow every year. It's the only game on that Saturday for a reason, because everybody in the stands knows that the people playing down on the field are willing to pay the ultimate sacrifice for their freedom, and that's a really unique thing, And so for those seniors, the last time they run out there and playing for pride and wanting to sing second, it doesn't matter the record, it doesn't matter the bowl game, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters to these guys more than the game they're about to play tomorrow, and it's just a very special and unique game. And there's nothing like it. It's America's game for a reason.
Nate, appreciate the time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy Army Navy tomorrow, and look forward to talking to you next year.
You too, brother. Thank you.
Nate Boyer, former Green Beret. He was a former long snapper, got some time in the NFL, and then got into Hollywood. A pretty impressive story for Nate Boyer. Really impressive story. Nate Boyer joined us earlier today as we continue our coverage of USAA's Media Row. Frank, that was a pretty good conversation with a guy that, this is the way I love about this day. You get to meet a lot of impressive people that have done a lot of impressive things that all bond over a common thing, and that's, football and sports.
Yeah, and even like just being here and who we've discussed, I'm starting to get the picture that this is about a lot less of the game, the actual physical game itself. The game is the centerpiece to this whole event. It's about having all of these incredible, inspiring people together. And you'll hear a couple of interviews a little bit later on with a couple of really, really inspiring, amazing people that have worked their rear ends off to get to where they were, and that have worked there and have continued to do so to be where they are today. And it's unbelievable the amount of inspiration that has come from this place. And it's something that you don't really get watching the game at home. It's something you have to be here to understand and be here to experience. And I'm becoming more and more grateful every minute that goes on, and seeing some of the people that we've seen, that I have the opportunity to be here.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool deal. This is why I love going to it every single time. This is why, the trip part of it's
I
fun.
Understand more and more.
But until you actually physically go to Army Navy, you have no idea. People just go hey, who cares about Army? Who cares about the Army Navy game? They run triple option. It's not, it means nothing to college football. It means a lot to a lot of people. I know a lot of people in the military that are all about this game.
Yeah, I'm realizing more and more that the game is secondary to everything else that is going on here. The game is, of course, there's the bragging rights between Army and Navy, and you always hear about how important it is, but it's really secondary to everything else that goes along here. And me, with my brother being a former Marine, it hits home a little bit closer for me and my family, I'm sure.
We have some interesting news that involves the Padres that was talked about this morning on MLB Network Radio, Frank. The leadoff spot. And Steve Phillips on the leadoff spot gave out information about who he thinks the Padres are going to make a big trade for and make a big trade with. And it's an interesting conversation. And we have the clip, and when we come back, we are going to play that clip and talk about it and see if this person is a fit and see if it makes sense. Is it going to be part of the 99% of things that don't come about, or is it going to be that 1% that hits for A.J. Preller. I mean, it's some pretty interesting stuff, and I'm curious to see what the Padres are willing to give up to potentially get this player, if Steve Phillips is right. What did Steve Phillips say? Who are the Padres trading for? He said it's like almost like it's high level. We'll talk about it when we come back. In the 11 o'clock hour, Braden Surprenant Show. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. USA Media Row. Army-Navy game tomorrow.
KW.
August on 97 to the Fan. Join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Now, a lot of our guests today are on the phones, or not on the phones, but on the line. So a little bit different today. But so far, so good. A couple of good guests. We got more coming up. It sounds like we're going to have the American Athletic Conference Commissioner join us at noon, which I'm interested to talk to him about a lot of things, but more from a group of five perspective. I mean, San Diego State, I know they're going to the Pac-12, but that's not the same Pac-12 it used to be. And obviously a lot of the problems that he has to deal with, San Diego State has to deal with, being member of conference just like that. So it'll be interesting to see kind of the future of college football with the bowl games, college football playoff, and all of those entities mixed out. I mean, they got a team in the college football playoff in Tulane, and obviously with Army and Navy both being in the American Conference, makes sense why he's here. He used to be, I don't know if you read his bio or not, Frank, but he was the chief business officer of the MLS expansion club, New York FC. So he's got some experience with expansion clubs too in the MLS. So I'm kind of be curious to see his perspective of what it was like in expansion year there compared to San Diego too. So we got a lot of interesting things to talk to him about as well. But as we do all the time on the Braden Surprenant Show, we're going to talk baseball. And there was some interesting news this morning on the leadoff spot on MLB Network Radio. Frank, did you hear this before we play it?
No, I did not. This will be brand new to me.
So you've been all over the place in Baltimore, but this came down this morning, and it was reposted online. But it's Steve Phillips on the leadoff spot, and that shows on MLB Network Radio. But they were having discussions about the whole blockbuster thing with the Padres, and here's the conversation that happened on the leadoff spot this morning on MLB Network.
And so the Padres. So I'm going to take your top brotherware, and the Padres are going to trade for Lindor. You know those Lindor candies that you can get? Yeah, Francisco Lindor is going to be a Padre.
No, Steve.
Right now, there are all kinds.
Steve, no. They need to unload, not get. No. That's not happening.
Well, no, it's going to be that they're going to have to give back Bogarts in the deal. And so the Mets clubhouse issue has come to a head, and Soto's winning out. And the reports out there are that the Padres, who we heard were working on blockbuster deals, have made offers to the Mets on Francisco Lindor, because the Mets realize that Soto and Lindor do not get along, and they're trying to accommodate the issues that they had in their clubhouse.
I don't need you to get along. I don't care if you're together for the next thing. I don't need you to get along. I'm sorry. This is idiotic on every standpoint. Like, they don't get along, so we need to trade you guys. Dude, figure it out. You guys are men. You sign contracts. You sign lucrative contracts. Figure this crap out and go play the game. And then once the game is over, you can go one way, you can go the other way, and I'll see you tomorrow in the same venue. And then you kick butt together. I grew up in a Cincinnati Reds clubhouse that not everybody loved each other, but it sure the heck appeared that way once they continue to win. And then every team that wins, Steve, you hear it year in, year out. In October, you're hearing some, we love each other. You know, the reason we're so good is because we love each other. You never hear a team say, you know why we're so good? Because we don't like each other. We don't like each other, so we make sure that we play, we win. We haven't heard a team that has lost yet say we love each other. We don't hear that. Come on. Play the game. Be a professional.
I'm telling you, I don't disagree, but I don't think that the game's the same today as it was then in many regards. And so I think that they're not getting along. And one guy, and I talked about it, my biggest fear when A-Rod was going to be a free agent, and in 2000,
as mentioned before. Now, I don't know why it didn't play for you over there. And can you hear me now, Frank? I don't know if Frank can hear me at all. So I'm going to have to turn his pot off and back on, Hamby, and he should be able to hear me now. maybe potentially, but he can't hear me. I don't know if it happened on the YouTube or not, but the conversation that was played with Steve Phillips and the leadoff spot was that Francisco Lindor will be a Padre, is what he said. Now, they're playing a game of like bold predictions, but what he said was Steve Phillips on the leadoff spot, he would be a Padre. And the other thing that was laid out in this was the background of like Soto and Lindor don't get along. And so now the Mets are trying to actively trade, or not really, but they're listening to phone calls about Francisco Lindor. And the Padres have had phone calls with the Mets about Francisco Lindor. That's pretty crazy to me. I mean, it's where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Now, whether or not AJ Preller can make that happen will remain to be seen. But I find that to be a very interesting conversation. Now, how does Francisco Lindor fit on the Padres? I mean, I don't know. I guess he would be the shortstop. They would have to potentially get Xander Bogaerts over to New York or not pay for the contract unless they think they can move Bogaerts somewhere else. But you're getting another massive contract on your books. I can't imagine them doing that just for Mason Miller. So I'm curious to see what they might be able to come together or put together if that's the case. But I kind of agree with Eduardo Perez, though, when talking about the New York Mets. I know you guys don't get along. You're both under contract for like 10 years. You guys better figure it out. That's why we paid you this money. I mean, this kind of like attitude of like take your ball and go home is interesting that this is like how it is in sports nowadays. I mean, that was the case. Notre Dame took their ball and went home. Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto don't like each other. It's like, hey, let's take our ball and go home. So that entire thing, I mean, the Mets are a mess. They continue to take L's after the offseason, after the winter meetings. They just continue to get L after L after L. I don't know if we got Frank back yet or not. I've been trying to watch him in the StreamYard. He gave a thumbs up, but he hasn't responded yet, so I don't know if that is.
Yeah,
here he is.
Back.
Okay,
I'm here. If you guys hear me, yeah, we had. Sounds like somebody accidentally kicked the plug out that they weren't supposed to kick.
Nice,
so
right in time for us to talk about your New York Mets.
Exactly. Yes. So
all right. To recap,
I heard that the Padres were going to trade for Francisco Lindor, and then somebody kicked something.
Steve Phillips then went on to say that the Padres have already contacted the Mets about Lindor. And then he went on to say that the relationship with Lindor and Soto is so bad that they are listening to phone calls to get Lindor out of there because Lindor doesn't want to play with Juan Soto, which is a lot of the like rumors that we had heard before. But Steve Phillips was making it sound like he's talked to people, and this is what the conversations have been about. And the Padres have been in contact with the New York Mets about Francisco Lindor. And Eduardo Perez at the end, because he's also on this show on the leadoff spot on MLB Network Radio. I agree with Eduardo. Eduardo's like, this is nonsense. They got to figure this out. If you're the New York Mets, you got to tell both these players, like, I don't really care if you guys hang out with each other or not. Go your separate ways, but you guys better start getting along. We hashed out some major contracts for both of you guys, and trading away one of them doesn't seem like the right move. But you know what? Maybe Francisco Lindor can find a new lease on life in San Diego. We talked about this a lot yesterday, but there continues to be smoke to the Padres and Francisco Lindor at the New York Mets, Frank.
Juan Soto's not getting traded.
We know that.
If Francisco Lindor likes New York, all he's got to do is wait for 3 more years. And Juan Soto has an option. Juan Soto has a player option after year 4. After year 4, he's got a player option. So if Lindor doesn't want to play with Juan Soto anymore, there's a good chance that Soto can still opt out of this deal. It's not a locked in 10 to 15 year thing. So Lindor should be the priority right now, and keeping Lindor, because from a Met perspective, it should be keeping Lindor because you don't know if you're going to have Juan Soto in 3 years. And if that is the case, then you've lost both Lindor because he couldn't play with Juan Soto, and then you had Soto opt out because he couldn't play with Lindor. So it makes no sense for the Mets before Soto's opt-out to trade Francisco Lindor. It makes no sense for them. However, having said that, if the Padres can work something out to get Francisco Lindor, and we spoke about this a lot yesterday, I think that is your clubhouse leader and culture guy sorted. There really isn't much of a problem after that, I think, as far as the Padres are concerned. I think he's in his mid-30s right now.
He's 32. He's in his early 30s.
Yeah, he's 32.
And you're going to pay him until 2031. I mean, unless you get the direct trade. We talked about this yesterday. Unless you get the direct trade that involves Xander Bogaerts, but why would Xander Bogaerts agree to get traded to the New York Mets? Because he's got a full no trade. I just think like Lindor is a square peg into a round hole. Like, it's great to have him on the team, but everything that you have to move things around if you're the Padres to try to fit him on the roster. And there's a lot of hurdles unless you convince Xander to waive the no trade clause, which is very difficult to do a lot of times.
It is, and I think it depends on who is in the Met clubhouse and if he is okay. I mean, it's the Mets are a contender, and at least as far as the owners are concerned, he has the money to continue to be a contender. I would have to assume that would be if I had a no trade clause, that would be my first thing is, am I going to a contender, number one? And number two, who's in the clubhouse? Do I have an issue with anybody in the clubhouse? Those would be my two conditions and the two things that I'd be looking at if I had a no trade clause and if I were in Xander's position.
There's major problems though with the no trade clause. There's major problems with Juan Soto in clubhouses. It seems like Lindor doesn't like him in New York. He had a problem with the Yankees. We heard about the rumors about him in San Diego. I mean, there was one season where Xander and Juan were on the same team. I mean, Xander Bogaerts would have to waive his no trade and agreed to go to New York, which is different than San Diego, and agree to do it Juan Soto again.
Right, but he's already played in Boston, so that he's been in that media market. He's thrived in that media market before, so you can't really sit there and go, well.
That doesn't mean he wants. That doesn't mean he wants to do it.
Oh no, I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why would you sign up?
He's been there before.
Why would you sign up to play for what looks like right now a circus for the New York Mets in a tough media market? Dealing with Juan Soto. Why would you say yes to any of those things? There's like three reasons why Xander would be like, no, no, and no. I mean, he would have to get, I don't know, he'd have to get more money. I don't know. I don't know what other things you would have to factor in there, but the no trade clause really puts a damper on this. And the other thing too, it's like, are you willing, like, is Francisco Lindor adding to your roster worth giving up a Mason Miller? I mean, maybe they can find different ways to get him. I don't. Well, honestly, it probably depends on what the Mets are looking for. If they're trying to just get rid of Lindor to improve their clubhouse and maybe get some money off, then maybe it won't cost as much. But if this happens, the trade details are going to be fascinating. But it's interesting to hear that the Padres are at least according to Steve Phillips, have been making phone calls. But this to me files in the category of the 99% of things that don't happen and not necessarily the 1% of where things align. I think I don't think this is going to necessarily happen. If it does, that's great. And we can talk about where Francisco Lindor fits into a Padres lineup. But until it starts heating up a little bit more, I think it's still kind of a pipe dream in my opinion.
They always say the one thing that ruins a conspiracy theory is how many people have to have prior knowledge and keep it quiet. Because the more people you have in the mix, the harder it is to keep it quiet. And I think that's one of the things that you have to look at here is not necessarily saying it's a conspiracy theory, but it's how many hurdles need to be passed in order to make something like this happen. And it sounds like there's just way too many issues, not just on the Mets side, but on the Padres side as well. And as somebody just pointed out,
I'm gonna get to that in a second. I'm gonna get to that in a second. Yeah,
that the Tigers would have to overcome in order to make something like this happen.
Well, that's where I was going to get to next. It's like, well, the other thing that you don't know about is maybe a 3-team trade. And as BatFan1 on the YouTube chat says, 3-way trade, Padres, Mets, Tigers. Padres get Lindor, Mets get Skubal, Tigers get Xander and picks from the Mets. I mean, that would be picks. You don't trade draft picks, but prospects and whatever. I mean, that's not a bad deal all the way around. Unless you're the Tigers. I mean, if you're the Tigers, it's okay, cool. We got another big contract we have to deal with instead of just signing Tarek Skubal, right? So, but you would have a shortstop of the future, I guess. Not really. No, you really wouldn't have that. I mean, you'd have a veteran on the team. It would help you out a little bit. I think the Tigers lose that deal a little bit more than anything else. But that's an example of maybe a third team's getting involved. Maybe that's why Preller was all over the place talking to a lot of different people out there. And as you mentioned before, there's being more and more reports on this. And with it going on MLB Network Radio this morning, where there's smoke, there's fire. And there might be some more waves to this. And this is the conversation that we had yesterday about getting notes, seeing what's out there, seeing what you can do, putting a game plan together. And trades like this don't just happen overnight. It's going to maybe take a couple of weeks, but this would be something to be on the lookout for.
Yeah, that's what the winter meetings and the GM meetings are for, is to get all of these GMs together to see if they can they're rubbing sticks together, seeing if they can get smoke. The fact that you have guys that sign, like Kyle Schwarber signing at the winter meetings, Pete Alonso signing at the winter meetings, those are guys that are wanting to get on a team quickly, that are physically going to the winter meetings to try to get a deal done. It's not for that. The winter meetings and GM meetings are not for that. It's to get all these guys together to start rubbing sticks together to see if they can create a spark. And it looks like David Stearns and AJ Preller have a spark here, that there's something between the Padres and the Mets. Just don't know what it is yet.
No, we'll keep you updated.
It'll materialize.
We'll keep you updated if we see any other news and notes about that as the show continues. I can't imagine it happening today, but maybe the next couple of weeks we got something to report on when it comes to a trade and the Padres.
Well, according to Google AI, it happened a couple weeks ago. Anyway,
yeah. Hey, you know what? We were kind of late on the deal, I guess.
Already.
What does ChatGPT think? You know what? That should be a fun game. We should have all the different AI platforms play like MLB The Show or something like that. See what kind of moves they make.
Yeah. What was it? I sent it to both you. I sent it to you and Adam after the show yesterday. It was. Oh, yeah. Google AI said, yes, Francisco Lindor was recently traded from the New York Mets to the San Diego Padres in late November of 2025. With reports from MLB on Facts and TWSN Sports confirming the deal. Google AI is not taking over our job anytime soon.
Classic.
MLB on Facts. Love it.
We got a pretty important message to get out there that is with our sister station in KSON. They're doing their St. Jude radio telethon. John Flint from John and Tammy will join us next to talk about what you can do to help and be a part of it. We got Zach Polega coming up later on at 11:35. We'll get to the sports thread. We'll talk about some high school football later on. We got more guests as we continue our coverage of USAA's Media Row live in Baltimore on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Tim, I'm receiving an important
holiday season, too many San Diegans will go hungry. Join 97 to the Fan and support the San Diego Food Bank. Donate food directly online through our Odyssey San Diego Food Fund, where every donation helps feed local families. Go to 97tothefansd.com/food fund and give today. We got a lot of different inspiring stories throughout the day today as we cover the Army-Navy game at USAA Media Row. Frank Marchese's out there in Baltimore. I'm here in San Diego. And not only are we doing this, but KSON is doing their annual St. Jude radiothon, radio telethon, and joining us from KSON is John Flint from John and Tammy. And I know I've had lack of sleep for the last couple of days of flying to Salt Lake City and then back and all this other stuff, but you've been grinding for the last almost 24 hours, if not more, with the radio telethon. John, I know you're looking for sleep right now, but you're doing it for a very big cause that you do every single year.
Dude, first of all, thanks for letting me come on, Braden. Second of all, yeah, I'll sleep tomorrow. I'll sleep tonight, hopefully, when I drift off. But today we got more work to do. This is our 38th KSON, the Country Cares for St. Jude Kids Radiothon. If you don't know who I am, I've been doing the morning show with my friend Tammy for the last 15 years here in San Diego on KSON, the country station here in San Diego. I'm not sure I have to say that, but I'm, in case you're wondering, who's this guy and why is he invading my favorite sports show? That's why. You know what? You could be a sports fan. You could be a country fan. You can hate country. You can hate me. I don't care. But we all love kids. And we all want to make sure that kids can have a normal, healthy life. And sadly, there are a lot of kids right now fighting for their lives. And that means a lot of parents who are freaking the hell out. And that is why we're doing this. Braden, if I can just give people a number, if you wouldn't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The phone number to become a partner in hope is 800-779-5121. Anybody buy coffee on the way to work today?
I did not.
Okay.
I got coffee here, actually.
Okay, well, if you got coffee, way to play along, it would cost you $5, right? To become a partner in hope, it costs you $19 a month. That's less than $5 a week. I know we are all struggling. If you're not, God bless, but maybe you are. So, you know what? We can all afford $5 a week. And that is what it takes to keep hope alive in parents that maybe only have hope hanging on by a thread right now. I've got 2 healthy children, thank goodness. When I was about to have, my former wife was about to have our second daughter, Julia, who's now 24, we found out pretty early on when she was still in the womb that she was going to be born with a complete cleft lip and palate. And if you don't know what that means basically she had a hole in the middle of her face, half a nose. She was going to need extensive surgeries pretty much the minute she was born. And that was a freak out for me. I'm not comparing facial cranial work to childhood cancer, but there's a reason why I'm telling this story is that as she got plastic surgeries, they had to do it in stages because her face grew. And the first 2 plastic surgeries, the first one was at 3 to close the roof of her mouth. And the second one was about a year old to fix her lip and her nose. And she had to get them progressively as her face grew. Well, what I didn't know was that only the 2 surgeries were covered by insurance. So I was gifted a wonderful check from a local hospital for well over $100,000. I don't know about you guys, but I can't write a check for $100,000 right now. It destroyed me financially. It basically ruined my marriage. It took part in it in any way. It threw me down a rabbit hole. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because the magical thing about St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and if anyone's done any time in a hospital, this is going to shock you, asks for nothing from their patients' families. You don't have to pay a single bill. You will never get a notice from an insurance company saying, hey, give us the money that you owe. It's never going to happen because St. Jude takes care of everything. And that's where we come in. It's really astounding when it costs you like $50,000 to get a Tylenol at a hospital. Not going to happen with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. You guys love sports. I love the fact that you're listening to me right now. Thank you so much. Yeah, I know you also love kids. And if you've got healthy kids, how about making an investment in their future? Hopefully you never need it. But if you do, you got this chip in your back pocket. 800-779-5121. Maybe texting is easier. You're probably on your phone right now. No biggie. Just text KSON to 785-833. That's KSON to 785-833. Excuse me. Braden, we're calling you all partners in hope because that's what you're doing. You're providing hope for parents. And again, maybe that's all it's going to take. We've had several families on our show today who've lost children to cancer, which is a very hard thing to talk about with a parent. And they're here in person. I would think if any of my, God forbid, something happened to my children, I would want to bury myself in a hole and never see the light of day again. These parents, despite the fact they went through the worst hell anybody can go through, are here because they love St. Jude so much. answering phones, hearing stories about children that are surviving and maybe thinking, why wasn't that my kid? But that's not what they're thinking. They're thinking, you became a partner in hope and you gave me more time. You gave us more time with our child. And that is something that is invaluable. That's priceless. The best thing about St. Jude, in addition to not accepting any money, is that they are a tiny little hospital with a massive complex behind them of researchers that never stop working 24/7. Right now working on protocols. And when they get these protocols, and they will share them freely with every buyer, or I'm sorry, with everybody in the world, every hospital. I meant to say no buyer is needed. They're not going to sell it to a farm company. They're not going to give it to the highest bidder. They're saying, here, take it. And that includes kids right now at Rady Children's who are possibly getting childhood cancer protocol treatments that were developed at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. That's why it's so important to make that donation.
Yeah, and it's something that I don't have kids, but I was a NICU baby. Not with cancer, but low platelets and blood issues, and the blood bank saved my life. But I've heard the story every time around my birthday about how stressed out my parents were because I'm the oldest. I mean, I was the first one that they had, and when hearing those stories, I mean, it's tough. And they even I was born at Pomerado Hospital and then shipped off immediately to Children's, and they would do hand and footprints for basically newborn babies that were not going to make it and give it to the families. Ugh. And we got one of those for me. I mean, they did not think I was going to make it. Wow. So that kind of pressure and just emotion for a parent and everything is, I can only imagine. I know you're dealing with a lot of those people right now, but you guys are bringing hope to a lot of people that are trying to get their child through something. I mean, that's the other thing too. I mean, you had to do it with your daughter in some capacity, but the kid is fighting, and there's only so much you can do,
right?
And this helps those parents alleviate the financial part of it, while they can focus on what's the matter at hand. It's their child.
Perfectly said. And it's so much more than the financial things, because as soon as you jump into there, I mean, your life is stressful enough anyway. And all of a sudden they say, hey man, we got to get you help right now. We got to get you on a plane. We got to get you to Memphis. Your child does not have an hour of time. We got to get them to St. Jude. I mean, what the hell? All of a sudden everything is like, what do I do? What do I do? Here's what you do, according to St. Jude. You take care of your child. We're going to get them better. We will take care of everything else. And I'm not just talking about the care at the hospital. I'm talking about transportation for the entire family. I'm talking about lodging for the entire family. I'm talking about transportation for the entire family. Everything's taken care of. It's really an amazing facility, and miracles are made there, but there's not 100% cures yet. And until there are, the promise of St. Jude is they're never going to stop until no child dies in the dawn of their life. And it shouldn't have to be that way. My dad passed away 4 years ago, and it's still with me, but my dad lived a long life. Okay. Long enough. Children dying is just, no, not acceptable. Not on our watch.
How are we doing today during the in this last couple of times of the radio telethon? What's going on, and what's the update from KSON?
Well, right now, by the way, if you are a country fan or just want to rage on a Monday, I know it's a real great day to go to a concert, but the first 400 Partners in Hope that we are getting, they're getting a pair of passes to the Partners in Hope thank you show with Low Cash at Sequan Casino Resort. They've been kind enough to say, hey, man, we want to come out. They're supposed to be packing up and going home and spending time with their families for the holiday, but they said, no, Partners in Hope, St. Jude calls, we're coming. So first 400 Partners in Hope will get a pair of tickets to that. I don't want to talk about a total right now because I don't want to curse anything. I know that we're slightly ahead of where we were last year, but I don't want to dissuade you from calling and making this a record-breaking year, because we really, really, really need you. Kids need you. And many of those families right here are in Southern California, in San Diego. They're right in our studio, actually. 800-779-5121. You can also just text KSON to 785-833. KSON to 785-833, or just go to KSON.com. It's right there, too. So many ways for you to make a difference.
We appreciate the time, John. Thanks again for coming on. We wanted to get it out there to our audience, and anything we can do to help is we'll be there for you guys.
I appreciate that. May I say one more thing?
Yes.
Would you go easy on me this week in our fantasy football playoff game?
We'll see. You're off to a 14-0 lead.
Dude, you're
Godwin
supposed to pace me. You're supposed to pace me.
We'll see. We'll see.
Right, well.
You know what? I won a different league last year. That might have been all my luck that I have. So we'll see what happens over the weekend. I'm gonna need Nate Taylor's New England Patriots in the YouTube chat. I'm gonna need Drake May to have a big weekend this weekend.
You know
He's
what?
got the Bills though. So
Braden,
yes,
please lose to me. Do it for the kids.
All right,
do it for the kids, bro. Hey guys, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thanks again to John Flint for joining us. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more from the USAA Media Row, where we are at in Baltimore on the Braden Surprenant Show.
Quinn and Chris on the Fan. It's getting serious in the NFL. We'll preview Week 15, also talking some college hoops, and our Friday countdown.
Listen to Quinn and Chris weekdays from 2 to 6 on 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, San Diego, get ready to rally. Mark your calendar for an action-packed Saturday, January 24th, 2026. It's Tony Gwynn Jr., and I'm inviting you to team up with me and the American Lung Association for the Premier Pickleball Tournament and Gala, presented by Sharp Healthcare. We're swinging for the fences and raising funds for vital lung health initiatives. I challenge all community and business leaders. Step up to the net. Let's ensure a healthy future for every San Diegan. Join the excitement today at pickle4lungs.org.
Ben Higgins here, and by now you've probably heard me talk about probate. It's the legal state-supervised process of settling someone's estate after they pass. Sounds simple, but think again. It can be long, expensive, and blocks your family from your assets for months or even years. The good news is you can avoid probate for assets held in a trust. With most trusts, your family gets quicker access to your estate and belongings, usually with no courts or delays. With Trust and Will, it's easy, affordable, and done online. Take control of your estate. Visit trustandwill.com and use code FAN at checkout for 20% off your Trust and Will at trustandwill.com.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation, so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
For 75 years, California Baptist University has pursued one mission, helping you live your purpose. What began with just 42 students in a borrowed building has grown into a global community shaped by faith, learning, and calling. Thousands of stories have unfolded, each a life of purpose in the making. At CBU, students discover who they are and how their story fits into something greater. You were made to live a story that matters. You were made to live your purpose. Visit calbaptist.edu to apply today.
If you've been diagnosed with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, this is what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Imagine being a million miles away. Tremfya, guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy. With Tremfya, clearer skin is possible. In clinical trials, at least 70% of patients saw at least 90% clearer skin at 16 weeks. Results may vary. Tremfya is also indicated for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Call 1-800-526-7736 or visit Tremfya.com.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free tax-free information by dialing 800-922-1284. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars.
Welcome back to our coverage of USAA's Radio Row of the Army-Navy game, which will kick off on Saturday in Baltimore, Maryland. Frank Marchese's out there. I'm not. I'm back here in San Diego. Obviously, we talked about the travel fiasco that we had the other day. But joining us now, and we were supposed to have him on earlier on the show, but we got backed up, and there's a lot of this is a big moving production out there in Baltimore. But he represents Team Red, White, and Blue. He is a West Point grad. His name is Zach Polega, and he joins us on the Braden Surprenant Show. Zach, what's going on? How's your Friday going?
So far, so good. Thanks for having me.
You're a decorated former Army Ranger, West Point grad. Obviously, this is a big game coming up tomorrow. What was your experience like going to West Point and being able to be a part of these Army-Navy games as a cadet?
Yeah, so experience at West Point was great. Obviously, there's ups and downs, but would absolutely do it again if I had to start all over. Unfortunately, all 4 years that I was there, I was part of the the Army losing streak, and so we didn't beat Navy one time when I was there, which was pretty unfortunate. But it's still an incredible experience to be at the game and just watch all of the fans, the cadets, the midshipmen, everyone come alive to celebrate America's game.
What is your, we talked about your experience, but, we have a lot of high school football players that listen to our show because we cover high school football. A lot of people in town that, might be interested in attending an academy, if you will. What's your best advice to, maybe the youth that wants to be a part of either Army or Navy?
Yeah, first off, I would ask why not, right? Like what's stopping you or preventing you from potentially going? But at the end of the day, to provide some actual advice is there's not a single place, right? Regardless of what academy you choose. Obviously, I'm partial to West Point, but there's not a single place that you would choose, right, where you will be developed and molded into a leader right at a place like one of the academies, and how that transitions from both on the field and into military service or the private sector, right, nonprofits. You overall just become a much better person and also make those around you better.
You have a pretty interesting story, a pretty inspiring story. It reached a national audience through ESPN's Veteran Day feature. For a lot of people that don't know about your story and how you've gotten to this point, go ahead and describe for us what happened to get you to this and how it's kind of shaped how you do things now.
Yeah, absolutely. So had the privilege to be aired on ESPN, and really, it's not just my story. It's ultimately a community story, which that ultimately led to my involvement with Team RWB and what I'm trying to help with now. And so really, how I got there was after I commissioned at West Point, served as an infantry officer on the East Coast, and then spent some time out on the West Coast in the 75th Ranger Regiment, and deployed a couple times overseas. And on one of those deployments, ended up being significantly injured, spending a couple months in Walter Reed. And so really it was through that process that my passion for health and wellness, growing up as an athlete, always being active, transitioned into purpose. And so from then on out, it was not only personally, how do I get bigger, faster, stronger? Because I immediately wanted to get back to my team. I wanted to continue to serve, but was also how do I impact people and provide, live a purpose greater than myself. And so when I was transitioning out, that led me to Team RWB, where ultimately there was just significant mission and value alignment of trying to enrich veterans' lives through health and wellness. And how do I leverage my experiences of being injured and what I've gone through to, one, show to individuals that our veterans aren't broken, and the same skills that make them successful in the military will make them successful on the outside. But also, movement is medicine, and you still have the individual choice, to impact the outcome for your life, whether you want to show up. How are you showing up to be the best version of yourself?
Let's talk about that. That's your philosophy. Movement is medicine. It obviously resonates with a lot of veterans. We have a lot of veterans here in San Diego, a lot of active duty, as well as being a Navy town. What does that phrase "movement is medicine" mean to you personally, and how did fitness become such a critical part of your recovery?
Yeah, so very practically, I think movement is medicine is anytime, you're moving around, generally you feel better, right? Like there's without getting into it, there's actual like chemical changes that happen, right? When you start to move, when you do something that you're enjoying, even when you are miserable and suffering through it, right, you feel better afterwards, right? And so that's practically what it is. And with that, like, how do you continue to push yourself, to grow as an individual? And so really, how that impacted me, like I said, athlete growing up, was always very active, trying to stay in shape, both from a military requirements perspective, but then also just as an individual. And so after I was injured, I made a commitment to myself of I want to be bigger, faster, stronger, and I just want to get back to my team and continue to serve. And then what I noticed right through that was I was trying to serve everyone else, but I wasn't always taking care of my own health. And so that movement is medicine was, okay, how do I take care of my own health? And then through that also, create a positive impact and help drive awareness and change for veterans health initiatives. And that's where Team RWB came into a really big play. And then ultimately, starting off on the deck of the USS Midway there in San Diego, running 3,000 miles across the country, carrying the flag with 11 other veterans all the way to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Team RWB's Old Glory Ultra Relay, incredible mission, literally carrying the American flag across the country. What does it feel like to take part in something so symbolic? And what conversations do you have with fellow veterans during that journey?
Yeah, one extremely humbling experience, You get to witness and see all different parts of the United States from a much different perspective. And then again, conversations, with veterans it's breaking down silos, right? You get to see people at low points and at high points, and the conversations, that come out of that, because there's a shared sense of purpose, There's a shared sense of suffering, and so, it really just brings people together. And then when you're, whatever physical event you're doing, whether you're walking, swimming, rowing, on thoughts and devices. And so, your ability to reflect during that time and figure out what's driving you, like who you are as an individual, what's your purpose, all of that comes to bear then in these conversations, and how do we actually lift each other up because we're all struggling with different things.
We're talking with Zach Polega, who is a decorated former Army Ranger and West Point grad. We are at USAA's Radio Row in Baltimore, Maryland, getting ready for Army and Navy. I mean, Zach, you've transformed from a wounded warrior into an endurance athlete. I mean, obviously a very trying journey for you during that time. What was the moment when you realized that, you might not just be recovering, but you're completely rebuilding yourself into this endurance athlete?
Yeah, good question. I think the initial rebuilding was one, obviously just trying to continue to serve, right, and wanting to stay in uniform, and with that also recognizing how do I define what my new 100% is, right? And I don't want to be defined by my injuries, but I want to define them. And I think kind of having that awareness and that recognition was the defining moment of, laying in a hospital bed, bedridden, right, for several weeks, going through multiple surgeries, just led to this revelation of there's still more that needs to be done, right? And like, if not me, then who? And so how do I pick up kind of my own torch and start to make an impact both for me as an individual and influence those around me?
You connect with thousands of veterans through leadership, fitness, your social media outreach. What's the biggest challenge veterans face after transitioning out of service, and how does community help fill that gap?
Yeah, so everyone's transition story is a little bit different, but I reflect on a kind of an old African proverb that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. You want to go further, right? Go together. And I think that's the importance that community plays. I hands down would not be where I am and would have had the outcomes, both positive and negative, that I did, right, if it wasn't for my family support, extended support, the engagement and support from Team RWB, mentors, etc. And community is, I'm quite frankly, I don't know how I guess you would do anything else, right, without community. It just provides so much value, and really is uplifting. And so yeah, it played an instrumental role in my life, and I think right going forward, like the community aspect is, how do we continue to build each other up, right, and encourage one another? Because again, everyone is going through different struggles, and so being able to offer out your hand and help pick somebody up, because we all need it at different points, and I've been able to experience that personally, so that's what I want to be able to continue to do.
Last thing for you, Zach. I know you're very busy at Radio Row, but we got a lot of veterans that live in San Diego. We got a lot of, and as I mentioned before, big military town here in Southern California. For someone listening right now who may be struggling physically, mentally, or emotionally, and is a veteran, what's the first step you'd encourage them to take to begin their own movement of medicine journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So asking for help, right? Whether that's a friend, whether that's a family member, right? Just asking for help, right? I think is the first step, and that's often looked down upon, but that's the absolutely required first step. And a great opportunity to do that is you go to teamrwb.org, free for whether you're a service member or you're a family, or right if you're a civilian, but that's a way to then get plugged in, engaged with your local chapter, and go out and run, walk, do different events with community, and be able to share similar struggles, similar stories, right, with others that may be right very different than you, but are having similar struggles. And so asking for help, and then going to teamrwb.org, and right, becoming an Eagle member.
Zach, I appreciate the time, man. Such an inspiring story. I know a lot of our listeners greatly appreciate you spreading this information and continuing to pass along your movement is medicine philosophy. I'm sure I probably don't have to ask you who's winning tomorrow.
Oh, beat Navy. Yeah, our Army all the way.
Appreciate the time, Zach. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Just another inspiring story that we have had, today. I mean, the guy lost his leg serving this country, and now he is running cross country as part of this potential deal.
Literally cross country.
Yes, he is running. He started at the Midway, and then him and other veterans ran to the other side of the country. Pretty awesome, remarkable stuff, Frank.
It's unbelievable stuff. And that's what I'm talking about when I said earlier in the show that those stories like that and meeting people like him, that's the true reason behind this game. That is the spectacle behind Army Navy.
I got a text from one of the gentlemen that works at the gym that I go to, Ray. Says, great show today, guys. Thanks for your support of the Army Navy game and the military in general. Love the St. Jude stuff that we got with John Flint. Just incredible stuff today. I mean, the sense of community that we like to show on the show, and and today and whatever we can, right? And so that's what a lot of today's show is about. A lot of, we have a big military community here in San Diego that are definitely going to be glued to the TV tomorrow. We heard Craig and Benita earlier this week about the watch party they're doing at the Blind Burro downtown for the Navy side of things. I'm sure there's a couple other watch parties for Army mixed in, even though we're a big Navy town, but just great stuff. And when we come back, a very interesting conversation, I think, as Tim Pernetti, he's the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference. There's a lot to dive into in college football and college athletics that he might have answers to. He will join us next to start off the noon hour. He's Frank Marchese, live in Baltimore. I'm Braden Surprenant, live in San Diego, USAA Media Row.
To return to the Talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
Remember to listen at 1 o'clock for us to announce today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey suite at a future Padres game with all the fan staff. Register your name at 972thefansd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. Braden Surprenant is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We are live at, well, Frank is, at USAA's Media Row in Baltimore, Maryland, where we will have another guest joining us live in Baltimore. A very prominent guest, if you will. He is the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference. As I see, he's getting settled in right now, or at least trying to. But got to fix some things behind the scenes real quick on the music in the background. Did we fix that or not? I don't see it. It says it's, well, I know we're in the commercial break on the graphic, if you will. I can go solo here and then we'll figure it out here in a second. But anyway, sitting down with me now is the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference. And there's a lot to talk about when it comes to college athletics and this day and age of college athletics. And joining me now from the USAA Media Row is the, as I mentioned before, the American Athletic Conference Commissioner, Tim Pernetti. Tim, if you can hear me down the line, what's going on? How's your Friday?
I hear you loud and clear.
All right.
I heard you call it the American Athletic Conference too. I don't know if you heard the news, but we're just the American now.
Just the American Conference now.
So can we start? I need your home address so I can send you a fine.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fair enough. It's fair enough. You have such a fascinating job. I had to get you on the show because as a big fan of college athletics and college football and the ever-changing landscape, I mean, you have to deal with a lot of business and a lot of fighting for your schools in this day and age, especially coming from, what people like to term as the group of five. But, you came in as the new commissioner during a very, turmoil sense of college sports. It's probably a big reason why you got the job. How would you evaluate your first, year and a half of being the commissioner of a, quote, group of five conference when you got a representative in the college football playoff?
Yeah, quite honestly, autonomy, power, group of five. Like, I think the media just kind of made this stuff up. And in general, we're just trying to be the most formidable version of the American that we possibly can. I'll leave it to the presidents to rank how I'm doing as commissioner. But what I would say is in the past 18 months since I've been on the job, we have really accelerated what we're doing, both on the business side and competitively. And, honestly, that just comes down. People are like, well, what's the magic, secret sauce? What's it? People. It's really just people. Like, you recruit good talent, you hire good coaches. I convinced our institutions to invest in rev share, and we're generating new revenue on the business side and resourcing them better. So we're really pleased with where we're at. And quite frankly, the gap that everybody saw for so long between us and others is closing.
Let's talk about now the kind of that first year and what your first priority was. I mean, you obviously had a great resume before. You worked at IMG Academy. You were part of Rutgers University for a little bit. What was priority number one for you when you officially took office on June 1st? And why was that your number one priority for the American Conference?
The number one priority, everything I've ever gone into in my career, is I've sort of developed this 90-day rule where you got to get out and get on the ground with everybody in your organization. Now, normally that would be in one location, but in this case, I had to go to 15 campuses to meet all those people. So I spent the first summer going around to all the campuses, and quite frankly, listening was my biggest priority. And what I learned was I came back with 15 sets of challenges, all of them relatively unique, but it enabled us to bring a few things together. The House settlement was getting ready to come down when I started, and I encouraged our institutions to set a minimum investment threshold for house. And we all agreed unanimously as a league, we're all going to invest $10 million. That's going to be the minimum. What everybody does above that is fine. If you're not going to invest $10 million, you're not in this league anymore. And our membership has stepped up. And we've seen the result in the talent that has come to the league and how coaches are coaching and the success that we're having. So, that was really important, was just to get out there and listen. And second was just to build the business side. We launched something called American Rise Ventures, which is a wholly owned commercial enterprise. We're talking to outside capital groups about investing in it. But think of our schools as shareholders in a commercial enterprise. Every dollar we generate into that will be shared out at the end of the year with our schools. So we're trying to thread the needle between modernizing the business side and really trying to better resource our institutions for a more challenging future.
We're talking with American Conference Commissioner Tim Pernetti on the Braden Surprenant Show. He is live at the USAA Media Row in Baltimore, Maryland. And Tim, here in San Diego, we have 3 major universities, 3 D1 universities, all part of the, quote, group of 5, as mentioned before, that have to deal with a lot of the same problems. I mean, what are some of the issues that, pertain to these conferences that you're the commissioner of? And obviously you can't, you're not going to speak on the Mountain West / Pac, whatever it's going to be, or the West Coast Conference or the Big West. But a lot of you guys have a lot of the same problems. For the American Conference, what are some of the challenges you guys face in trying to compete with the quote Power 4? And how have you guys addressed some of those challenges to, as you mentioned, catch the gap a little bit?
So I think this really all boils down to finances. Quite frankly, is the gap between a school in the American Conference and a school in one of the autonomy conferences is really the spend, quite frankly. And the gap is significant. But what we have to be focused on as an industry is a lot of the rules and a lot of the legislation, a lot of the settlements are being built and designed for the top 1%. And I think that's challenging, right? Because most student athletes at any school don't spend any time thinking about NIL because it doesn't impact them. Yet we're building a future for the top 1% that are the earners. And I think that's where it gets challenging. But for us, we only control what we control, right? I can't control what they're doing in other conferences. What are we doing to try to modernize our business? Holding schools accountable to invest at a minimum level is one. Turning on a commercial enterprise so that we can generate new revenues and be more dynamic in how we operate is next. Our media agreement with ESPN, which is deeply comprehensive. Every sporting event and every sport in our conference is either streamed or televised. The investment ESPN makes in us is significantly higher than a lot of our peers. So we're trying to make sure that we're focused on the things that we can control. When you get the tailwinds in a year like this, 3 weeks ago, 6 teams could have played in our conference championship, and 3 or 4 were in the mix for the CFP. We didn't have any doubt we were going to get a team in the college football playoff. It was just a matter of who. So when you get the tailwinds of competitive depth and competition, Braden, listen to this stat. Our ratings on the ESPN networks in football year over year are up 25%. That's a monster number, and that just illustrates the value, the competition, the exposure that the league has delivered.
Let's talk about, conference realignment and everything like that. I mean, that's something that you guys always have to be a part of. It coincides with TV contracts, and there's always drama with that. I mean, how proactive do you guys have to be as a conference for not only maybe trying to keep some schools to stay, but also always being on the lookout to always improve your conference? And do you think there might be, some more of this down the road when some of these TV contracts expire?
Yeah, that's typically, you nailed it, and the business. This typically takes place 2 years leading up to any media agreements coming into the market. And, and I had the same experience when I was athletic director at Rutgers. I took them into the Big Ten. And when we started to really get serious with the Big Ten, it was around 18 months prior to their media contracts coming to market. So in 5 years, there will be movement. What it looks like, I don't think anybody really knows, because a lot can change between now and then. But my job is to make sure that I'm monitoring the landscape. I'm taking every phone call. And at the end of the day, the job is to create the maximum amount of value for the American Conference. So having those conversations and digging in is the only way that you can figure that out. But anybody that tells you they know what's going to happen in 5 years is lying, because I don't think anybody has a handle on it. the one thing I'd say about expansion that's tough is like at some point, are we all going to wake up and think about building something bigger instead of tearing each other apart? Because that has been a huge impediment to progress in college sports. The fact that Texas and Texas A&M are just getting back on the field with each other after how many years of not playing each other, like it does have a downstream effect. So why don't we talk about building something bigger instead of tearing each other apart?
And there's a lot of levels to this. Obviously, I attended TCU, and so in the Big 12, I mean that's a school that gets, or a conference that gets knocked below the top two, and then obviously being in town in San Diego, watching the Aztecs for San Diego State, they're a notch below in this hierarchy that comes out of the media. And what everybody wants, as we kind of relate this back to college football, is a chance to win a championship. And with the college football playoff and the committee and everything like that, it's a lot of arguing about who should be in, who shouldn't. Based on what you can tell us and conversations that you've had as this continues to expand, I know there's some powers trying to control all of it. How do you think the college football playoff and the bowl system is going to shape over the next couple of years, as you obviously have to be part of a lot of these big conversations?
Yeah, I'm fortunate to be in every one of these conversations. You know, I'm one of 10 commissioners that's members of what they call the management committee of the CFP. And it's our job, you know, not only to manage the current, but to figure out the future. And I know fans in general get impatient with why aren't things changing, what's going to happen, et cetera. I think it's more important to get these decisions right than it is just to make decisions. And that's where everybody in that room is. Like all the narrative about some don't care about others and there's not an open opportunity for everybody to present an idea is not true. Everybody has that opportunity. The system, we only have 1 year of data on the college football playoff, and it worked pretty well last year. But like, is there a magic number that I'm not aware of? Because at 12, you're going to have unhappy people. At 16, you're going to have unhappy people. The NCAA tournament has 68 teams in basketball, and you have unhappy people. So in football, we just have to make sure we arrive at a number or stay at a number that provides access for championship level teams. I support the current system of conference champions being rewarded if they're one of the top 5 with an automatic bid, and a robust at-large system which allows anything to happen. Because you know what? Guess what? People love college sports because Cinderellas matter. You don't know what's going to happen on Saturday or at the NCAA tournament. So I think preserving that is really important versus the alternative of let's predetermine the outcome before we even kick the ball on week 1.
I kind of a follow-up on that. I mean, the FCS has a 24-team playoff, and they have automatic qualifiers. I mean, the University of San Diego's in the Pioneer League. They're non-scholarship, but if they win the Pioneer League, they get an opportunity to play for an NCAA championship. Obviously, there's a lot of things, moving parts and conversations. Has there been any kind of conversations about a 24 automatic qualifier system in college football?
Well, that's been reported, as I'm sure that you've read, that there was one conference in particular that had the thought of a 24-team system with dedicated automatic qualifying spots for each conference, and then 2, I believe, for the group of 6.
Right.
Like, it's definitely out there. I couldn't get into more detail than that because that's not been presented to the management committee as a full management committee yet. But the important thing for everybody to remember is, like, college football it's chaotic and it's frustrating how things have changed, and maybe some for the better, maybe some not. But it's important to talk about change, right? Because I would argue college sports has not modernized itself over a lengthy period of time, which is why we're in the situation that we are in certain respects. But it's important to be open-minded to change. Like, let's get everything on the table, tear down the walls. It's not personal, and figure out the best way forward. Because I see my job as a commissioner when I'm in the CFP room to protect and defend college football as a game, not to try to benefit my conference at the cost of someone else.
I love that, Tim. I know you're a very busy man. You're here for a big reason. It's because 2 of your teams are playing each other tomorrow. 2 very, obviously, not that there's not every school in your conference is very important, but Army and Navy, how cool is it to have them both in the American Conference? And what does this game, as we talk about all the chaos of college football, how great is this form of college football that we get to see tomorrow?
I mean, sign me up for more of this 7 days a week. Because the Army-Navy game is just more than football. You know, it really is. And I played at Rutgers 100 years ago, Braden, and I got to play against both the academies, Army and Navy. And I remember an experience when I was a sophomore playing against Army, winning the game, standing next to the kid I played against all day for the alma mater. And it occurred to me that he signed up for a way of life. The only game in America where when it's over, there's a winner and a loser, but everybody's on the same team. And that's what makes it different. And it will never be challenged by any other rivalry in America. I'm a little biased, but Army-Navy is deeper than football. And I like to share it with someone every time that I go. Like I brought my son last year who had never been. I have my wife here with me this year who's never been. It's something that everybody should experience. People say that it's not the greatest rivalry in sports, have never attended the Army-Navy game.
That's a fact. And Tim, I could talk to you for hours because the business side of college football fascinates me. I love coming up with all these different playoff formats. You get to do all the fun stuff that I would love to do. So it was great picking your brain, even though we don't have an American Conference team here in San Diego. I really enjoyed the conversation. Hopefully, look forward to talking to you again.
Hey, whenever you're ready to bat it around for 30 minutes on the air about the business side, you are nowhere to find me. I would love nothing more than that.
That'd be a great. That sounds like a great podcast. Potentially, I'll have you talk to my producer. Thanks again, Tim. I appreciate it.
You got it.
Tim Pernetti,
Take care.
the American Commissioner, American Conference Commissioner, joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. A big thank you to him for joining us today. He did a great job. That was just a fascinating conversation. I know he's busy with a lot of different shows today. But I can talk about that all day long, and I had to rein it back in. I had to rein it back in because it might bore some people. But college football playoff stuff was great. All the other stuff was just fascinating stuff. When we come back, we will be joined by Chad Steele, Ravens Senior Vice President of Communications. Very important story about how he's involved with the Army-Navy game. And then at 12:35, Skylar's back talking about college football. The queen of college football will be here to make her picks for the first week of the bowl games. We will continue our coverage at USA Media Row. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We're continuing our coverage of USAA's Radio Row out there at the Army-Navy game in Baltimore, Maryland. And now joining us is the Baltimore Ravens Senior VP of Communications, Chad Steele, as he's part of the Radio Row coverage. It's good to have Army-Navy in Baltimore. Chad, what's going on? How's your Friday going?
It's going great. It's going great. I appreciate you guys having me on, and it's good, but I'm a little nervous. We have two big games coming up this weekend. We're in Cincinnati on Sunday, but tomorrow all focus is going to be on Army-Navy for me.
What's it like? I mean, getting able to be a part of the Army-Navy game. Obviously, you have a pretty good career of being the senior VP of communications for the Baltimore Ravens. But tell us a little bit about your connection to West Point and what makes this game so special for you.
Yeah, so I have a long military history in my family. My grandfather was a Buffalo soldier and was stationed at West Point in the 1940s, and my father was the first black football player at West Point. September 13th, 1966 against Kansas State, first game there, and then he went back to coach. And when he went back to coach, I was born there, so I was born on the campus. And just, West Point has been in my blood ever since. So it's every year of my life, it didn't matter where we were in the world, Saturday shut down in the Steele household for Army-Navy.
What are you most excited about? I mean, how many times have you been able to attend the Army-Navy game? And for somebody like Frank sitting next to you who's never been, what makes this game so special for people? I mean, I could tell my own story. I'm going to do it on the show at some point in time, but what makes being at the game even more special than watching on television?
I think it's the tradition, what it does. Like my wife, who's San Diego State grad, she's from out there in California, had never been to an Army-Navy game. So when it was here in Baltimore, I believe it was 2016 or 2017, my parents came up and we go, and I said, or 4, and we got to get there at 8 a.m. She's like, why are we tailgating? What are we doing? I said, no, we've got the march on. You've got everything. So I think it's the pageantry and understanding what the young men on the field are committing their lives to after it's over. So I've been 6 times as an adult, and I was talking to my dad on the way down here, trying to figure out how many times I did it as a kid. I spent most of my childhood overseas, in a lot of his duty stations. But it's just being there and seeing, the Corps cadets and the midshipmen and what they do before the game, during the game. And then it's always sing second. If you sing second, that means you won. So it's special. I have two of my uncles went to West Point. I have 2 cousins that went to West Point. I have one cousin that was ROTC Navy at Notre Dame. We don't talk to him during this week, but it's just the week of the game and leading up to it is so special because what these people are committing their lives to afterwards, and that we are able to do these things and go to these games because of them. So Frank, I'm excited for you. My wife was absolutely blown away the first time she did it, so I'm excited for you to experience it for the first time.
Yeah, no, I cannot wait. I'm so excited for tomorrow, and even just being here and standing next to the trophy, you start to really feel how special this game is.
Absolutely.
If you're starting to feel it now, Frank, just wait till you walk into M&T Stadium tomorrow, because that's when you really start to feel it when they do the march on. We're talking with Chad Steele. He's the Ravens Senior VP of Communications over in Baltimore. What's it like doing your job on a daily basis? I mean, we obviously deal with the communications people for the San Diego Padres, and you got to be very involved with the media and everything like that. You got some fun personalities in Baltimore. You get to work with a lot of great athletes. What are some of the perks of having your job?
I think it's just the relationships that you form. I came here as a young guy, and Ray Lewis was just really starting his career, and the relationship we have formed, we're still very, very close. My kids call him Uncle Ray. We're talking and texting on almost a weekly basis, and then you go through the years, and we have these young, absolute studs like Kyle Hamilton and Lamar Jackson, and seeing them and trying to be a little part of helping them to understand the importance of, yes, what you do on the field is important, but what you do off the field through the media is important, because there are young people like me growing up who absolutely loved the NBA and the NFL and see them as superhuman, and being able to get them to understand the importance of what they do and how they present themselves as role models sometimes for these young people. So it's amazing. I don't get to enjoy our games as much because I'm so stressed about, okay, well, we went for it on fourth down, didn't get it. The challenge was wrong, incomplete pass. So I don't get to really enjoy our games. I go back and watch them afterwards, but I'm the kind of football nerd that will watch a, Browns Lions preseason game all the way through. So just being able to be a part of it, being in a locker room, being able to work at the Super Bowl, which is the biggest thing in the world on that day, and being a small part of that is just amazing. And if you would have told 15-year-old Chad that I would be doing this, I would have laughed at you. It really is. But it's the relationships that are so special.
Well, how difficult is it sometimes when you have? I mean, what does your job entail on game day with some of the you got to deal with the media. Obviously, if something bad happens, you got to be there to make sure things are run smoothly. It seems like from afar the Ravens never really have any massive press clippings you got to deal with, but us being on the other side of the microphone, we always got to try to work our way through the PR staff. What's it like on your side dealing with the media?
It's great. My sister's in the media. She was at ESPN for about 10 years. And so I get to bounce a lot of ideas off of her. Hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking. This is what we're dealing with. But we have a lot of great men that we deal with. And I think it's just kind of, I've been doing this now for 25 years. So being able to understand kind of what the media is looking for, trying to get the guys to understand that is really important. And so on game day, we're dealing a lot with the networks pre-game and the things that we have to do during the game. I'm charting everything because I have to prepare the head coach for the podium afterwards to make sure he understands what's going on. And then we're preparing the players for the media. And then there's, the post-game scrum of, they want to get the star player over here. You got to get somebody with this sideline reporter with that. So it's a lot of chaos, but I don't know if I could do anything else. I kind of like that chaos. But it's to be a part of the NFL, to be a part of something on game day that is really special to a lot of people, and you're able to be a part of it, to help these guys to kind of take people behind the face mask, to get them to know them as people as well as great athletes is something that we don't take lightly.
You got a couple of athletes that, just pop into mind that have San Diego connections. You mentioned him off air with us. I mean, Eric Weddle and his time with Baltimore was probably fun. Tony Jefferson, a San Diego kid, spent some time there as well. I mean, those two in particular. And what was it like working with Weddle's beard and Tony Jefferson? Two couple of safeties that the Ravens have had that have San Diego ties.
Two of my absolute favorite human beings on earth. I mean, just always had a smile on their face. Leaders of men. I mean, really, I'm not surprised at Eric's success that he's had as a high school head coach. Tony, how about that story? He was a player. He was with us. He tore his ACL. He didn't feel like he was the player that he was, so he retired. He was working as a scout for us, and then said, hey, I want to go back and play, and bulked up, tried to play linebacker. That didn't work out. So he retired again, and then said, you know what, let me give this a try. And Joe Ortiz, who's the general manager out with the Chargers, was with the Ravens for about 20 years. He and I were roommates when we were interns, and he said, hey, Tony, why don't you come give us a try? And then he had that huge play on Monday. It's amazing when you know that they're good people, you know they're going to be successful, and to see that success later on is outstanding. So I am, my wife's a San Diego State grad. My daughter has told me she is going to San Diego State. Doesn't matter who else wants her. She's going to San Diego State. So we have, I have a huge affection for that city.
We appreciate that, obviously, out here. So hopefully a couple more Aztec for Lifes in the Steele family coming up down the ranks. I know you had some connections to high school football. If you want to give a couple shout outs to those individuals, because I mean, obviously Eric Weddle, but got a lot of high school football fans that listen to our show day in and day out with all your connections to San Diego.
yeah, so you know, Eric, I love to see what he's doing, and my nephew Braden Schwartz is a wide receiver for Carlsbad High, number 80, and had a great season. Was able to score a touchdown in the playoffs. Of course, I heard they lost to a great team, a great team in the semis. But yeah, I'm super proud of my nephew out at Carlsbad, and hopefully they can get to the mountaintop next year. But excited for you, and good luck with what you have going on this weekend.
Thank you very much, Chad. And I know you're very busy, man. I'm sure we already know the answer to this, but who you got tomorrow in the Army-Navy game?
Oh, so I always go Army, beat Navy.
Always go Army, beat Navy. Chad Steele joining us in Baltimore. Frank, that was a fun one too. A lot of the conversations we have had have been pretty fun, and they've been in instances connections to San Diego that we didn't even know. I mean, he's got a nephew playing for Carlsbad, which is super cool to see.
Yeah, I think he said his daughter or somebody is like
his daughter wants to go to San Diego State.
Is dead set on going to San Diego State. So it is amazing how you always find a San Diego connection, especially when it comes to military stuff.
Yeah, his daughter wants to go to San Diego State. His wife went to San Diego State. A lot of connections there, and his dad was the first African American player for Army in the football program. So pretty cool conversation. Now, when we come back, the Queen of College Football is back. And we got ourselves the bowl version, the Army-Navy game and the bowl version of our college football picks with Skylar. That will be when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number sports station, 97 through the Fan.
The biggest guests in San
In 2023, 1,355 people were killed in alcohol-related crashes throughout California. Driving under the influence of anything is dangerous, illegal, and has serious consequences. Don't be the I in DUI. Go safely, California. To wrap up the third hour of the show, I can't believe it's already 12:40, to be honest with you, out here on the West Coast.
You can't?
No. Show is flying by. Hamby's chilling over here. He's having a good time. Frank's out there in Baltimore. What time is it in Baltimore right now? 3:40?
It is 3:40. Yes. I did not sleep as much as I wanted to last night.
And you should have gone to the breakfast. That was the only thing you needed to go to. You have to go to the dinner now. You have to go.
Oh, no, I'm going to the dinner.
You have to go to the dinner. That's where you...
I'm expecting to. I'm not going to be there too long, I'm assuming, because like I said, I want to see like some of Baltimore. I want to see what some of the other things that USAA has done around here, but I will be going to the dinner.
You got to go to the dinner, and you got to go to the post-dinner tomorrow, and just everything that they say, hey, we're doing this, you're just saying yes, and you're going to do it. Since you missed the important breakfast you were supposed to have. Supposed to.
Well,
I'm just saying. All right. Well, it's that time to pick some college games. Hamby, there is a button on our button
college
bar.
Football music.
It says college football music bed. Aha! There we go. It's time, Frank. We got a lot of games to talk about. We'll save the Army-Navy game at the end, but we got bowl games starting as early as tomorrow. See, I don't like the bowl games on the same day as Army-Navy. I don't. That needs to be a standalone thing. But maybe that's why this bowl game is not going to be with us next year. It's the Bucked Up LA Bowl, Boise State and Washington, 5 o'clock on ABC tomorrow. What do we got in the Bucked Up LA Bowl? Frank, we'll start with you. Washington's favored by 10 against Boise.
I was
You can
ready
get
to
the
go
next
on
one.
these. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Boise State in this game. I think Boise State has come alive against big teams later in the season, games that they need to win. They have won coming off of the Mountain West Championship. If they don't win, they will definitely cover the 10.
I think so too. I like Boise State in this one plus 10. Skylar.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. And I just want to say I'm kind of nervous to make all these bowl game picks because I think I struggled a bit last week. So I'm a little nervous
you
here.
actually did pretty good last week.
It's on the did you delete it?
Never mind.
Yeah,
no,
I
had
was
the best
gonna
week.
say
No, you
I'm
went
not
2
so
and
sure.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah, Braden went 3-6. Skylar went 2-7. I went 5-4. By the way, love Kennesaw State.
So if these bowl games go anything like these playoff any of the rivalry games, I'm going to be in trouble. But I think 10 points for Washington, who's been a little lackluster, is a lot. So I'm going to go Boise State.
Augie's correct too, by the way. He's our one of our college football people in the YouTube chat. Bowl games are such a toss-up.
Yeah.
You got to go with your heart in some of these games.
I think
Kinda
they
with
are
some fun
too,
picks.
because there's so many things that come into play with like coaches leaving, players opting out, all of that kind of stuff. So it's almost harder than the regular season to make a pick. So we'll see.
All right, Frank, what's our next game?
I was distracted. I'm sorry.
It's the Salute to Veterans Bowl. The IS Forest Salute to Veterans Bowl, which will be played on Tuesday, December 16th.
I have it. I have it here ready. I was about to say some of the Army cheerleaders just walked by.
Okay.
Come
on.
Very distracted.
Hamby, where's the foul button?
Foul.
That's a foul.
It's the truth. That is a
foul
true statement.
Stop
That is
speaking.
a
Why is he red?
factual
Look how red he is.
He's going to be in trouble.
He looks like a
sun is
tomato
coming
right
through.
now on
You
his
can't
face.
see that? The sun
Foul.
is coming through. I'm
Guy's getting
burned over here.
sunburned. That's what
funny.
it is. Get us the game then from Montgomery, Alabama.
Troy. It is going to be Troy versus Jacksonville State. It'll be at 6 p.m. on ESPN on Tuesday night. Troy is favored by 2.5.
I'm going to take Troy in this game. They don't have to travel far. I think travel is also a big factor in some of these games.
Yeah, 100%. If you get to stay in your home state, I think it's a really big one up. So I got to go Troy also.
I'll take Troy as well.
Is that just because you're distracted?
No,
he can't think
that is
straight.
That is a genuine pick. 2 games on Wednesday the 17th. It'll be the Staff DNA Cure Bowl. Old Dominion taking on South Florida. It'll be a 2 p.m. kick on ESPN. USF favored by 3.5 here. So.
At Camping World Stadium in Orlando,
Yeah.
Florida. Yes. I'm taking South Florida now.
I was afraid.
Skylar?
I was gonna say. I was
did you get
afraid
distracted?
somebody is gonna give me a hard time if I pick South Florida on this one too, because
it's a team that you hate.
Braden thinks I'm like the biggest South Florida fan over here.
No,
but
you're just the hater because they almost got you twice.
I'm not a hater. I'm definitely gonna go South Florida on this one.
Rod has nightmares about South Florida. in his sleep.
Understandable.
I'm going to go South Florida as well. Old Dominion had a decent season, but I'm taking South Florida. I think they're
South
a better overall team.
Florida. All right, so we've all picked the same team.
Is that scary?
Well,
Not yet.
Not yet.
The 68 Ventures Bowl.
These are
is
bowl
gonna be
games I have
coming up
never heard
after
of
that.
before. I've heard of the
it'll be
Cure
at
Bowl. I've never heard of the 68 Ventures Bowl.
It is the Louisiana Raging Cajuns taking on the Welcome to the Bowl game in your first year as a D1 program, Delaware Blue Hens. This will be played at Hancock Whitney Stadium in Mobile, Alabama. UL favored by 3 points here, Braden.
I'm going to take the Raging Cajuns. They had a rough time in their bowl game last year. I think they bounced back and beat up on Delaware, who will be participating in their first ever bowl game.
Yeah, and again, Mobile's not very far for them to have to travel, where Delaware's got to travel quite far. So I got to go UL. So
I am going to go with Delaware. They have had a very good season
They
to
have.
open up their D1 program career. I believe in the Blue Hens. I will take Delaware. Thursday, December 18th. This will be the Xbox Bowl. Another welcome to the bowl game in your first D1 season.
So this is
Missouri
the old
State.
this is the old Bahamas Bowl.
Okay.
They moved it to Frisco because they couldn't get the game in the Bahamas, and then they named Xbox jumped in and got the sponsorship.
that's
So it's
such
the
a
Xbox Bowl.
bummer. I would way rather go to the Bahamas.
I don't think Alabama was ever going to play in the Bahamas
If
Bowl.
they did, I'd be there,
That's
like
right.
front row, 50-yard line.
Swimming with sharks.
So the
first.
Missouri State versus Arkansas State, 6 p.m. on ESPN2. Arkansas State favored by 1.5. Skylar and Skylar only here first.
1.5. That's really tough.
Coin flip game.
Yeah, and I mean, neither of these teams have to travel too far. I think I'm going to go with Arkansas State on this one.
I'm also going Arkansas State. As opposed to
I-
Arkansas State. I'm not taking them.
I'm going with Arkansas State. So we're back on the even footing. You can just write this matchup down, knowing my answer. It is the Myrtle Beach Bowl. This will be on Friday, December 19th. This is one of 2 non-playoff games on Friday the 19th.
A little
This will be
appetizer,
the
huh?
Yes, the Kennesaw State Owls will take on the Western Michigan Broncos, the Coosa winners versus the MAC winners at 8 a.m. on ESPN. Western Michigan favored by 4, Braden.
I'm taking Western Michigan. Go Broncos.
Fantastic.
I hate saying
Skylar.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really close one, but I slightly lean more towards Western Michigan here.
that. You know what? Is Kennesaw State going to want to be there more than Western Michigan since it's their first chance at a bowl game? It's possible. It's possible. That might be where Frank's leaning to his beloved Owls.
Give me the Owls. I'm taking Kennesaw State. The second non-playoff game. The playoff games are all on Saturday. There's one on Sunday. One on Friday. We're not going to pick that one this week.
We're going to pick all of the playoff games next week.
The playoff games are next week. Yes. The Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl will
Nice.
be Memphis. The Memphis Tigers taking on the NC State Wolf. It's the Wolfpack.
They
right?
are the Wolfpack. That is
The
correct.
Wolfpack. Okay, it is
Wolfpack.
the Wolfpack. That'll be at 11:30 a.m. at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. NC State favored by 5.5. Skylar.
I think this might be the best game, honestly, of all these games that we've talked about.
They slowly get better and better.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I think I'm going to go with Memphis on the upset on this one.
I like Memphis in this game too. I mean, Memphis did a pretty good job this season at home. I think they play hard. From my new favorite conference now, since we're boys with Tim Pernetti, Frank, we're gonna go with the Memphis Tigers, the American Conference. They changed their name. They're no longer the American Athletic Conference. They're just the American Conference
Because they're not athletic.
I will.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Sorry.
To get us fired from having that guy on again. He's gonna be like, "What they said?
I'm
What after I
just
left?"
Kidding. Scratch that.
I will take the American Do Not Call Us Athletic Conference.
Oh no! Oh no!
Well, no, you got fined already.
I know.
for
Apparently, I didn't know
calling
that was the. I didn't know that was the
Athletic
case. We're talking with
so I'm not gonna
Skylar,
make that same mistake.
making our game picks with Skylar that we always do with college football. Here on a Friday on the Braden Surprenant show.
So finally,
Fire up the music
last of
again,
the
Hamby.
bowl- Yeah, Braid. Yeah, Hamby.
It's a foul on Hamby.
Keep that music rolling.
There we
Yeah.
go.
The final of the bowl games that we're going to pick this week is the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. It'll be Washington State taking on Utah State. This will be 11 a.m. on Monday, the 22nd on ESPN. This will be a standalone bowl game on Monday. Utah State favored by 3.5. Whoever didn't pick first last time, pick first this time. I forgot who it was.
Hang on a second. Who plays a bowl game at 11 a.m. on a Monday?
Washington
I mean,
State and
seriously.
Utah State in
What?
Boise, Idaho. Dude.
You couldn't put the game at night?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
rough.
I guess Monday Night Football.
So
ESPN
everyone's
wanted
gonna
it.
take the day off of work. Whoever wants to go support
Who's
that
watching
one.
that?
Someone out there is
Well,
excited for this one.
Maybe my friend Perez. Maybe Perez because he's a Washington State Coug. But even he was like, why am I watching a game at 11 a.m.
That's rough.
between 2 6-6 teams? Washington State doesn't even have a head coach. He took the Iowa State job.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably take you know what? Augie said it best. You got to pick with your heart. And my heart's with the Cougs and Cougar Gold Cheese. And you know what? They hate Boise State. So I think they're gonna get a win at the Smurf turf. It's not that far for either of these schools, but I'm gonna take Washington State in this one. Go Cougs.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that Utah State was favored here. Maybe because Washington State coach is leaving, but I think that they're the stronger team. I think that they'll be able to kind of let that go out the window and they'll be able to win here.
You got Wazoo? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
The biggest foul of this bowl is that they continue. I mean, they play on blue turf. You can't make a field somewhere that looks like a potato field. Like
A potato field.
It's an
Paint its
obvious,
fields
it's an
brown.
obvious hit. I'm gonna go with Utah State here in this game for no other reason than
To be
gut
different than
instinct.
everybody else.
Yeah,
Go
no,
Aztecs.
gut instinct.
They don't want a night game because the potato mascot will get frozen. I guess that's true because they dump like fries on
fair.
you. They have like the fry cooler dump. You can't have frozen fries. It's like having knives hit you.
No. Well, now hold on. What kind of fries though?
They're just regular
I'm sorry.
fries.
I'm sorry. That was the fat guy in me that came out. All right, final pick. Army, Navy. Navy is favored by 7 points. It's the reason why I'm here. I would say we're all here, but I'm here. 12
Easy.
o'clock noon on CBS tomorrow afternoon.
Well, last year Army was loaded and were really good, and they had like one of the best offensive lines in the country. In fact, I think on the award show day they won the best offensive line in the country, and they were like close to getting almost a college football playoff bid, and Navy beat their ass. Navy is really good this year. Can Army replicate what Navy did to them is the big question. I don't think they will. I think it's going to be Navy. I think they cover this. I think Navy's going to win, but these games have been coming down to the wire.
Yeah.
So I'll take Navy -7 or -7. I think they cover the 7. I think they win by 8 or 9 total. But these games usually come down to the wire. And guess what, Frank? You get to be on the field for the final 4 minutes of the game. So enjoy it.
That's unbelievable.
That'll be fun.
Skylar?
I'm jealous. I am going to go opposite Braden just because of what I watched happen with a lot of games last week. I think that this is going to, I think Navy's definitely going to win here, but I think it's going to be so close. I think they're going to go back and forth. It's going to come down to the end of the fourth quarter. I think Army's explosive enough to keep up with Navy. I definitely see Navy winning, but I'm not sure if it's going to be by 7.
This is my kind of opportunity here to do a Lee Corso style pick here. So it's going to be go Navy, beat Army.
That's his little deal. I thought you were going to put the helmet on. You should have put the helmet on.
My fat head isn't fitting in this thing.
When we come back, let's see if Frank's fat head fits inside the helmet. What a tease. You should do the entire NFL whip around with the helmet on. Who says we don't like football here on this show? Come on. That'd be hilarious. We might have to attempt that on the show. See if he can put the helmet on. Thanks again to Skylar for joining us for our picks. We'll see how she did next week when we come back. The NFL Whip Around.
Hey, it's Ben and Wood. Sometimes sports is serious business, but a lot of the time it can get downright silly.
If you like a show that isn't afraid to make fun of sports stars or ourselves, join us weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
My uncontrollable movements called TD, tardive dyskinesia, felt embarrassing. I felt like disconnecting. I asked my doctor about treating my TD and learned about Ingrezza, valbenazine capsules, a prescription medicine clinically proven for reducing TD in adults. That's always 1 capsule, once daily, and #1 prescribed. People taking Ingrezza can stay on most mental health meds.
Ingrezza can cause depression, suicidal thoughts, or actions in patients with Huntington's disease. Call your doctor if you become depressed, have sudden behavior or mood changes, or suicidal thoughts. Don't take Ingrezza if allergic. Serious side effects may include allergic reactions like sudden, potentially fatal swelling and hives, sleepiness, the most common side effect, and heart rhythm problems. Know how Ingrezza affects you before operating a car or dangerous machinery. Report fever, stiff muscles, or problems thinking, as these might be life-threatening. Shaking, stiffness, drooling, and trouble with moving or balance may occur.
Take control by asking your doctor about Ingrezza.
Learn more at Ingrezza.com. That's INGREZZA.com.
As the experts in transmissions for over 50 years, there's nothing at AMCO we haven't heard.
So when I hit the gas,
It's just a belt. And nothing we can't fix.
it's going. What's that?
From transmissions to brakes and everything in between. No credit? Finance your repair at AMCO.
Exclusions apply, may not be combined with any other offer. Limited time offer at participating centers only.
People who know go to AMCO. AA MCO.
It's already the 1 o'clock hour. It's 4 o'clock in the East Coast where Frank Marchese's at. All guests on 97 through the Fan join us on the David P. Shapiro Fan Hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys helping good people regain control of their future when charged with the crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. We've had a fun show today. We've had a lot of great interviews. If you missed any of them, they're getting posted online. You can go back and watch on our YouTube page as well. A lot of great and interesting people today. And we got a couple more coming up later on in the show. Mike Mayock will join us at 1:35, former NFL player, former general manager of the Raiders, and now Westwood One analyst. Had a lot of great things when it came to development and some quarterback stuff that we wanted to talk about. So that will finish up the show. We're going to get into the NFL whip around here in just a second. But first, for the people on YouTube, you know, Army Navy does a good job. And we've posted a lot of pictures of like what our setup looks like. And they give you a helmet, a football helmet that we have our guests sign, as well as a football. And we're going to see if it fits on Frank's head.
We had the guests sign the. I think we said it. I'm going to take the helmet home, and you're going to take the football. I had the guests sign the football.
No, I should have signed him helmet too, dude. That's what you got to have him sign both. You missed it. Come on. All right. Let's see. So Frank's going to take his headset off, and we're going to see. The glasses might be a problem too, but he took the headset off already, so you can't hear me. He's going to try to put the helmet on. What's the inside? Oh, you could totally. That's going to fit even more now. The top doesn't have any padding. It's going to fit now.
There's a base pinned into it.
Oh no.
Yeah, this black.
Oh, you could probably take that out. It's just a piece of plastic.
It's pinned in at the front. I can't.
Oh, you got. Oh, that's so lame. Well, let's see what it looks like with that.
What it looks like with what?
Yeah, let's just see. Like it just covers your eyes.
What are we doing here?
Nate called you a stuffed hot dog.
No,
not for the bit. Do it for the bit, dude. Frank looking like Rodrigo Blankenship. Let's see what this looks like. See how far it goes down. Do you even know how to put a football helmet on? He didn't even know how to put a football helmet on. That's as best you can do.
So that's what we got.
Stuffed casings.
And so now we're gonna do the whip around, right?
Have you? Yeah,
I can see out the bottom.
No, we're not doing it like that. That's gonna be very uncomfortable.
I can't hear you at all.
I know exactly. Exactly. That's hilarious. If you missed any of it, you're driving around. It's on YouTube. Time for Oklahoma drills. Sports.
That actually would.
Nate says you look like Aaron Rodgers right there when he got hit and he was like all discombobulated.
It would fit. If it didn't have the gimmick in it, it would fit.
Oh my god!
So my head isn't that fat, I guess, huh?
You probably could have fit. You look like you've never put a football helmet on before.
No, of course not.
You have to go like the ear pads or whatever. It has to go like across your forehead and down, or you go from the back and down. If you go straight down, it's not going to work. It's very miserable. As somebody that wore a football helmet for many years, many years.
Yeah, Jake Waters, I will very easily stick with the catcher's
The catcher's mask.
No problem doing that.
All right, let's get to
that or a goalie mask. One of the two.
Rod's calling you Rudy.
I see that.
That means you'd be affiliated with Notre Dame, and then you'd be off the show. So,
well,
you would have taken your ball and gone home.
I'll be off the show. Okay, then I'll just blame the ACC for all of my problems.
Take the ball
and
go home.
Yeah.
All right,
just forget it. I'll go back to the hotel.
Time to bring Hamby back in. It's time to get to our NFL whip around. Hamby, NFL music Ready to go on the hotkeys. Ha! He's been on it, man. Hamby's been on it. We got to get the camera back on Hamby. He doesn't like being on camera, though, he says.
But he's also got the other gimmicks that we have, but they're going to be on the hotkeys now, so we won't be able to have.
I know. He'd have to go find it and stuff, like the Broncos and the Eagles.
They're all right there. There's only one page, and they're very plainly marked.
Okay, Hamby, what you could do is you can.
I'm stupid, so I set it up for someone who is like me or smarter to be able to figure out.
Hamby, you can kill the music, and then you can insert that into the stack with a break, and then play it, and then you could play our little gimmicks if you wanted to. I think he's going to be able to do that, so we're going to let him do that. But let's start getting to it. Bucks and Falcons last night, Frank. Aha, there we go. Now we're locked in. Now you can be ready for the Eagles, the Broncos, and all the other fun little gadgets we have on the hotkeys.
There you go.
Last night's game.
The Falcons came out and won that game. The Buccaneers, boy, they started off really, really hot and have fallen off completely. Falcons coming back to win that game, scoring 15 points in the fourth quarter, winning 29-28.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun to see. A little comeback right there. Tampa Bay might not win that division now. Carolina might be in the playoffs. Oh, I forgot to announce today's biggest fan. Real quick. Congratulations to today's biggest fan, KC Ports and Escondido. KC Ports and Escondido. KC and Escondido. Give us a call in the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. And you'll qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey suite at a Padres game with all the fan staff later this season, catered by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine. Remember to register your name at 97throughthefansd.com/biggest fan. KC Ports. KC Ports. Attention, KC. In Escondido.
That's KC, not Casey. K is CASEY. That is KC Ports.
All right, on to the whip around.
Sunday, the Cleveland Browns, who come in at 3-10, take on the 9-4
the Bears.
That is known as the Bears.
The Bears.
Hamby's picking it up so naturally. The Bears favored by 7.5, huh, Frank?
Yes.
I'll take the Bears.
Bears favored by 7.5. I will take the Bears as well. Bold prediction, as we give every single week, from ESPN writer, insert name here. I can't remember. Braden, you probably do.
It's Walden. Seth Walden.
There we go. Shedeur Sanders will turn the ball over at least 3 times.
I will buy that. I will absolutely buy that. Seth Walder is the bold prediction guy.
Seth Walder. There we go. Baltimore Ravens coming in at 6-7 will be in Cincinnati to take on the Bengals, who are 4-9. This is a game that Cincinnati desperately needs to keep their season alive. They are 2.5-point favorites.
I thought Cincinnati looked pretty good against Baltimore in their last meeting. It's going to be tough to pick against the Ravens with you being surrounded by Ravens employees.
Hey, Birdland.
You know what? I think that also fits.
Yep, Baltimore. That fits there.
It's still a bird. I'm going to go with the Bengals in this one.
Allegedly, yes.
I'm going to go with the Bengals. I know it upsets our next guest and all of our guests that have been from Baltimore and Ravens fans or affiliated with the Ravens, but that's a big game for Baltimore. I think the Bengals get them again.
Cincinnati played Buffalo really, really tough last week.
They look good with Joe Burrow
as well. Yeah. Buy or sell, Ravens guard Andrew Voorhees will post a 98% pass block win rate or higher. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth Walter. Sure. Voorhees should see a lot of Chris Jenkins Jr., who has the lowest pass rush win rate at defensive tackle for any qualifier this season. So, yes, I will buy that.
The Los Angeles Chargers coming in at 8-4 will take on the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City, who are 6-7. Chiefs somehow, some way, after being shown just that they are an average team, nothing more, nothing less, are still 5.5-point favorites.
I got Kansas City. I might be biased, but I got Kansas City. I will take Kansas City in this game. This is a game the Chargers lose. Where do the Chiefs play, dude? Currently in Missouri.
Yes, allegedly.
Our biggest fan is called
I-
in too. By the way, Frank.
Oh, there we go. See, now all it took for me was to leave. That's great.
I'll take
Love hearing that.
I'll take the Chiefs. All right, moving on. Who you got? Chiefs or
wide
Chargers?
I'll take the Chargers here. Chargers wide
Boo!
receiver
Boo this
Lad-
man.
Yeah.
He draws the foul.
Never take the Chargers on the show.
Chargers wide receiver Lad McConkey will be held to five or fewer targets for a second straight week.
I'll buy that because I think the Chiefs are going to win. And the Chiefs have allowed targets to players aligned in the slot just 23% of the time. They've done a good job covering the slot. We'll take the Chiefs. We'll take that bold prediction. We will buy it.
The Buffalo Bills are 9-4. They are 1.5 point favorites on the road against the New England Patriots. And that's especially surprising because the Patriots, if they win this game, plus Houston and Indianapolis both lose, they will clinch the AFC division. So the Patriots can make a playoff spot with this win.
It's
and
just
they
a
are
win.
Underdogs against the Bills.
If they win, they clinch.
A win,
Or
they win, they clinch the division. If they
lose,
clinch a playoff spot with Houston and Indy losing.
yes, correct. So if the Patriots
If the
lose,
Pats win,
a
they're
Houston
AFC
Indy
champs.
loss means
AFC
they're in. If they win, they get the AFC East and a playoff spot. If they lose, they can still make the playoffs this weekend or clinch a spot with a Houston and Indy loss. I think the Bills are going to get them this time. New England's looked really good. New England's has had some problems with their offensive line getting banged up. Drake May's had a great year, but New England won in Buffalo. I think Buffalo wins in New England to keep this thing a little bit more interesting down the stretch. I still think the Patriots win that division though.
You said the Pats beat the Bills already this season, right?
They did in Buffalo.
I'm taking the Bills then. It's so difficult.
It's going to be a back and forth.
You're 3-3 every year in the division. Bills cornerback Christian Benford will allow fewer than 20 yards in coverage.
He had a monster Week 14 game where he allowed 0 yards in coverage and also had a pick 6. But he's been playing some really good football. I think if the Bills win, which I think they will, he's going to have a big day, so I'll buy it.
Washington Commanders at 3-10, taking on the New York Giants at 2-11. Giants are 2.5 point favorites. Do the G-men lose by winning?
Yes. I think the Giants win. Based on what I saw of the Commanders last week was embarrassing against the Vikings, who are terrible. I got the G-men. As long as they have Jackson Dart, they got a chance at winning. I will take Jackson Dart and the Giants -2.5.
They're going to win this game.
They're going to score 30 more points too. I'll buy that.
They're going to win this game. They're going to win by 1 million, and the reason why is because if they lose this game, they will solidify a number 1 overall pick in this year's draft. So you can't count on them to do anything right at this point.
That's going to be a dub.
Coming up next, the Las Vegas Raiders at 2-11, taking on the Philadelphia.
Hamby.
There's a button there.
There it is.
L-G-S, Eagles!
Where everybody in the city of brotherly love knows how to spell their favorite sports team.
Who are now 8-4. Eagles are favored by 11.5.
They're going to kill the Raiders. The Raiders suck. There's not more I can say. The Raiders continue to get worse and worse. I got the Eagles.
Yeah, I think that's an obvious pick. The Eagles will target Porter 3 or more times on Philadelphia's first drive.
Or Darian Porter?
Yes.
Probably, I guess. I don't. Sure.
Typed it out this time.
Sure.
So.
Sure. I'm sure they will target Darian Porter a couple of times, who's a rookie cornerback.
The New York Metropolitans.
That's Hamby in the background.
Yes.
Rod's like, you can hear Hamby cackling in the background. He sounds like Mickey Mouse.
The Jets at 3-10, taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 9-4. Jags favored by 13.5 at home. I can't.
Jets have a
picture
new
time
starting.
Jacksonville had a more favorable line.
The Jets are not good, and they're starting a rookie at quarterback that I've never heard of before. Yeah. So I will take the Jags in this one. And I think they'll get a defense or special teams touchdown. I will buy that. Arizona at Houston. Houston's favored by 9.5, Frank.
Yes. I I'm taking Houston here. I can't see the Pats are, if they want to make the playoffs this week, the Pats are going to have to rely on a win of themselves. I don't see them losing.
I'll take Houston minus 9.5 as well. Trey McBride will finish with at least 12 targets. Usually, tight ends, usually the safety net for teams. They're going to be passing in while they're down. I'll buy it. Sunday at 1:25. We got to get to these a little bit faster now. Denver's hosting Green Bay. Green Bay's favored by 2.5.
Denver Broncos.
Yes, Denver can clinch a playoff spot with a win or a Houston and Indy loss. Same kind of stipulations as the Patriots. I don't think they'll clinch this week. I think Green Bay goes in there and wins.
I would believe that as well. Detroit at 8-5, taking on the LA Rams, who are 10-3. Rams favored by 6.
Rams can clinch a playoff spot with a win. I think Detroit wins, even though I think LA is the best team. I think Detroit is starting to peak at the right time. They have their backs against the wall. They need to win to keep pace with the rest of their division in the Packers and the Bears and in the NFC. So I'm going to go with the Lions plus 6 in this one. Carolina, New Orleans Saints. Carolina by 2.5. I'll take them.
Yeah, I take the Panthers as well. Tennessee at 2-11, taking on the San Francisco 49ers, favored by 12.5. Niners looking for win number 10 on the year.
If this game was in Tennessee, I'd say that the Titans would cover, but it's not in Tennessee. It's in San Francisco. I'll take the Niners minus 12.5.
Agreed. Indianapolis Colts at 8-5, taking on the 10-3 Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks favored by 13.5. And remember, Indy has not committed to a quarterback, at least what I've seen so far.
I got Seattle in this game. I don't know if it's by 13.5, though. So I'm going to take the Colts plus 13.5 because I think there's a Phillip Rivers aspect to it.
Sunday Night Football, the Minnesota Vikings at 5-8, taking on the Dallas Cowboys 6-1. Cowboys favored by 5.5.
How about them Cowboys? I'll take Dallas.
I will as well. Monday Night Football, Miami Dolphins at 6-7, taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 7-6. Do the Steelers get some legs in the AFC North?
I'm going to take LO's Dolphins for chaos in the AFC North. I think the Dolphins create chaos on Monday Night Football.
I'm taking the Dolphins as well. Pittsburgh has been so up and down.
That's probably a game Pittsburgh wins, though. But I'm gonna pick with my heart like I did with the bowl games. Anyway, not a lot to get to still. When we come back, talk some high school football. We got 4 teams in a state championship game. We'll talk about that next. And to finish up the show, Mike Mayock will join us here on the Braden Surprenant Show, Standing Over Sports Station 97 through the Fan.
I know that hiring can be challenging.
Hamby's 1 for 1 on the biggest fan. How about that, Jeff? Good job today, huh?
I'm excited. I'm excited to be 1 for 1.
1 for 1. Had all the drops ready to go. Well, the guys listened to the show before. It's fantastic. Fantastic.
I do listen every day.
I know. I like the updates on the YouTube every once in a while. It's good stuff. Jeff Hamby, big thanks to him for helping us out today. Frank Marchese is in Baltimore at the USAA Media Row as we're continuing our coverage of the Army-Navy game coming up tomorrow. We are going to transition real quick into some high school football as we have 4 teams competing for a state championship this weekend. Coming up this weekend, again, let me get the music off real quick for the YouTube people out there. We got a state championship game, so we got 4 schools representing San Diego in the state championship game, taking on Northern California opponents. All 4 of these schools for San Diego have all won Southern California championships after they won CIF here in San Diego. So it'll be Cathedral Catholic, Christian, Valley Center, and Morse, all representing the city and county this weekend. 3 of the games are today. One of them is tomorrow. We'll start with the games that are earlier. We got a couple of games at 4 o'clock. The Division 5 AA State Championship game, Christian will take on Bishop O'Dowd. Christian's 8-7 on the year. Bishop O'Dowd's 10-4. 4 o'clock kickoff at Buena Park High School. And what a turnaround it's been for Christian. They started the season 2-7. They've now won 6 straight. Caleb Runkle is the engine. 2,752 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, plus 507 rushing. Kai Rozier, the wide receiver, has been unstoppable. He's got 76 receptions for 1139, and a huge special teams producer. Hank Houston, 44 catches, 97 tackles on defense and 5 sacks. And Chase Togerson, who's got 94 tackles, anchor a defense that's peaking at the right time. Watch also for Julian Moronis. He's got 458 yards on the ground, 3.5 sacks, and Everett Randall, who has 86 tackles. Bishop O'Dowd brings a heavy ground game with Lamar Ellis, who has 1,113 yards and 13 touchdowns, as well as Brian Edwards for Bishop O'Dowd. That game will kick off today at 4 o'clock at Buena Park High School. Division 6 AA State Championships. Valley Center, the Jaguars are taking on the San Jose Lincoln Lions. Lincoln from San Jose is 11-3. Valley Center is 8-6. This game will be at Fullerton District Stadium at 4 o'clock. Valley Center, another incredible story. 1-5 start turned into 5 straight wins in a regional championship. Braylon Mitchell, quarterback, is putting up video game numbers, almost 3,000 yards passing and 31 touchdowns. His go-to receiver is Jesse Morales, who has 85 catches for 1,361 and 15 touchdowns. Josiah Ryan Torado has 1,362 yards, 16 touchdowns, plus 42 tackles and 3.5 sacks on defense for the Jags. Staley Army is everywhere. Mitchell, Max, and Joaquin, plus Brandon Revelis leading the defense. Lincoln brings one of the most physical rushing attacks in the state with Kean Phillips and Jonathan Medina, who's got 751 yards on the ground. This one's going to be a grinded-out slugfest between Valley Center and San Jose. The game tonight, the game I'll be coaching in at 8 o'clock. It will be on Spectrum Sportsnet again tonight, so you can watch it on television. But the Cathedral Catholic Dons will be taking on the Folsom Bulldogs, part 3 of the state championship games. As in, this is the 3rd time that these 2 teams have played each other in a state championship. The Dons are on fire, back-to-back comeback wins over Carlsbad and Los Alamitos. Brady Palmer's got 2,242 yards and 21 touchdowns in the air. At quarterback, he's been clutch all postseason. Don's offense rolls through Honor Falave Johnson, who has 1,229 yards rushing and 25 touchdowns, plus big defensive plays, 33 tackles, and 2 interceptions. Top target for Brady Palmer is Isaac Cook, but expect a lot from Josh Faramo tonight. Expect a lot from Gianluca Busalaki tonight. Expect a lot from a lot of different playmakers for Cathedral Catholic on offense. Defensively, Dons have a lot of good defensive players. Kevin Clark's got 91 tackles. Sam Samuela's got 79 tackles. Bronx Latuli Gasanoa, 69 tackles and 5 sacks, led by a middle linebacker in Cade Smith, who's going on to play at the University of San Diego when his playing career is done in high school, which will be tonight. Tonight is the final game for everybody this weekend. Folsom is elite. They have won 11 straight. They're powered by their quarterback, Ryder Lyons, who's got 3,270 yards in the air, 34 touchdowns. They got 2 1,000-yard receivers in Rob Larson and Jameson Powell. Ryder Lyons is a quarterback. It's a 5-star quarterback. He's committed to BYU. He's got a big, lucrative NIL deal. He got knocked out of the game last week against Archbishop Reardon with a shoulder injury. So it's a big question of whether or not he plays tonight. But the backup for Folsom has 9 D1 offers himself. He's not bad. So it's going to be an interesting game. I think it's at Saddleback College. Again, you can watch on television tonight. You will see me somewhere on the sidelines with my shoes and my white belt that I've talked about in the past. That will be on Spectrum Sportsnet. Steve Quist will have the call again tonight, so it will be cool to see. It's not the Dodgers, the Lakers channel. So if you get the Lakers channel, you'll be able to get our game tonight at 8:00. Last game for you is tomorrow, Division 6A state championship. It's Morse and Winters. The Tigers taking on the Warriors. Morse 10-4 on the season. Game will be at 3:00 tomorrow at Buena Park High School. Morse is rolling after taking the SoCal Regional behind Do Everything superstar Superior Guerra, who has 3,332 total yards, 104 tackles, and 6 interceptions. One of the best two-way seasons in San Diego in years. Ethan Esmilian has thrown for 1,617 yards and 17 touchdowns, while DeVell Green has 37 catches and 585 receiving as the top receiver. On defense, tackling machine crew, Ivan Scareville, 120 tackles, Gael Diaz, 97 tackles, and Trayshawn McNair, 72 tackles. Winters is powered by Northern California's phenom Lane Brown, who has 2,000 yards passing and 1,900 yards rushing and 46 touchdowns. Morse is ranked 362nd. Winters is 202nd in the state. So Tigers trying to hunt an upset in this one. That's a look at the high school football playoff, our state championship games. 4 schools for San Diego representing our county today and tomorrow. When we come back, former NFL player, Westwood One host Mike Mayock to finish the show. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station 97 through the Fan.
Hey, it's Ben and Woods and Paul, and we're inviting you to tune in to our 7th annual Christmas and Holiday Extravaganza on December 19th.
We'll be celebrating the season and raising money for Heaven's Windows to fight hunger here in San Diego.
All the fun starts at 6 a.m. right here on 97.3.
Okay. 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There. Last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
It's the December drive-in to win triple grand draw for a grand prize of $50,000 at Hyundai of El Cajon. Enter to win when you take a test drive. You can lease either an Elantra or Sonata for just $199 a month, or a Tucson for just $249. 0% for 60 months and no payments for 90 days. During the December drive-in to win triple grand draw at the all-new Hyundai of El Cajon.
On approved credit, not all will qualify. Plus tax, title, license, and a $155 registration processing fee. Rebates and incentives to dealer. 36-month lease, $19.99 due. 10,000 miles per year through HMF. Expires 12/31/25.
Be transported to the North Pole at the Holiday Wonderland, returning to Petco Park December 5th through the 23rd. Experience nightly snowfalls while strolling through magical lighting displays. Don't miss the chance to take a spin on the Grand Carousel, ride the Christmas train, sled down a snowy hill, and even visit with Santa. Join the holiday celebration at Petco Park. Get your tickets at Padres.com/Holiday Wonderland.
Never have I ever called my sister.
Welcome back to the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station 97.3. The Fan. We continue our Army-Navy coverage from USAA's Radio Row. Frank Marchese is out there, and we are now joined by who might be one of my favorite analysts to listen to. He's now with Westwood One. He spent some time doing a lot of different broadcasting, but he was a football player at Boston College. He was a 10th round draft pick in the NFL draft. He has spent time as a player, a general manager, a broadcaster. He's done it all. His name is Mike Mayock, and he joins us on the Braden Surprenant Show. Mike, what's going on? How's your Friday going?
It's going great, man. And all that stuff you said about me just really adds up to I'm old. That's what that adds up to.
Well, I appreciate the time. Mike, I'm a high school football coach. We got a state championship game tonight. I coach at Cathedral Catholic High School out here in San Diego. And I got to say, like,
oh, so that's why you missed your flight.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
I got it.
Exactly. So I run the special teams, but I have to say, like, my dad, who's coached high school football for 40 years, The insight that you bring, really I think resonates with a lot of coaches all the time. Especially, I love your guys's when you do draft analysts. We used to do that during the combine and stuff like that. But how much of being a player and going through and just being around football all this time, I mean, your passion for it, you could just hear it when you speak on it. How much of that being a player helped you evaluate talent yourself?
What's really interesting is what helped me more than that, I think, is exactly what you went through as a coach's son. I'm a coach's son. And I remember being 8 or 9 years old with my dad and the high school coach, and it was the old 16 millimeter tape, right? I mean, it was film. And if you wanted to do a cut up, and that's why they called them cut ups, still call them, you actually had to cut the film, splice it together. And my dad would say to me at age 10, I want you to get all the weak side bootlegs, from Cardinal O'Hara, put them together so the team can look at them. And I'd be like, oh, and I'm 10. So I'd be scraping through his tapes, cutting them, splicing them together, and he'd show them the team. And I was the oldest of 7, and I was just fascinated by what my dad did. And I followed him around. He was a college coach at University of Penn, the offensive line coach when I was a little kid. Then he was a high school coach and my coach. And I think the passion for the game started with my dad. And I had 4 younger brothers that played college football. And my mom and dad didn't push us into anything. I mean, it was just a family business kind of. We all loved it. So I think my youngest brother, Matt, who played at Bucknell, loves the game every bit as much as I do. I just get a little more visibility.
Yeah, I love the sport of football is phenomenal in a lot of different ways. I mean, just another personal question, it might just suit me, but we got a lot of coaches in San Diego that listen to the show because I'm a high school coach, and it's great we talk some high school football and stuff like that. But, when you evaluate, certain positions, I mean, and you've just recently done it, obviously not too long ago, but a lot of people in the industry, what is in this era of football, what are some of the most important things that evaluators are looking for not only talent at the college level, but then talent at the NFL level?
We're in a transition now because of what's going on in college football, the portal, NIL. There's some different things happening in college football that have kind of shaken the establishment. So you've got to kind of figure out, like when I was the GM of the Raiders and before that, if a kid transferred, it was a red flag. It was like, why did he transfer? Could he not play at the first school? Was he a bad kid? Did he flunk out? Now everybody transfers. It's like, it's like open season. So if you throw that away for a second, Braden, because really, if you're drafting a kid for the NFL, you got to find a fit. And I'm a big believer in fit. At every position, especially the quarterback position. And I'm not going to get into all that because I don't think that's where you were going anyway. But the fit is critical for a high school player going to college or a college player going in the NFL. Does he fit the system? Does he fit your culture? But beyond that, every single position has position specifics as far as what we're measuring, what's important to us. And then beyond that, there's a group of athletic composition that does he fit into what we're trying to become in our building as far as our athletic composition? How do we view? I mean, I used to laugh because a lot of my coaching buddies, like offensive line coaches, I'd say before the draft, even this going back 20 years, like, what do you look for in an offensive tackle? I want a 6'6". I want long. I want a guy that can grow into his height. I need 34-plus-inch arms. I need a guy that can bend. I need a guy, you go through this whole thing. And then when it came to the draft and you get in the 4th round, who does he want? He wants the squat, short arm guy from Fresno State because he's coached well, he's tough, he's quick, but he doesn't have any of the characteristics the guy asked for. And to me, it's really interesting. And I think it's why at least in the NFL level, the scouts and what the scouts do for 11 months of the year is really important before the coaches get involved. And so you and I could do this off off broadcast, and we can go on for hours, position by position. But I really do believe it comes down to a fit and what you're looking for at your position and in your building.
We're talking with Mike Mayock here on the Braden Surprenant Show at USAA's Radio Row, getting ready for Army-Navy tomorrow. We're going to talk about the game in just a second. You mentioned the quarterback position. I did have a question on quarterbacks right now in the NFL. I mean, I just feel like that era of elite quarterback might have just passed us by, and you see this new era of quarterback where there's some guys at the elite level, but then there's a lot of other players that are just kind of in the middle. And Phillip Rivers is now back. I mean, everybody here in San Diego loves Phillip Rivers. They're excited to see what he could do at age 44. But I mean, they're looking at, and here's the other connection. I mean, Brett Rippon trains in San Diego, and he works out at the gym that I go to. So for me, it's you don't give Brett Rippon a chance because he's probably not at that level. They have to go and get a 44-year-old quarterback. I mean, this era of quarterback right now is very interesting. And I look back to, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I look back to this. This is the generation of massive 7-on-7 and not having to deal with pressure with D-line. And it seems like it's a lot easier. But what's your opinion on where we're at in the development of quarterbacks? It might go back to what you were saying about NIL and the transfer portal, but it just seems like the development of quarterbacks is not the same as it used to be.
Interesting question. And I would only go back a year in the draft. Jaden Daniels was the first overall pick. Correct?
We'll go back to the break.
With Peyton, because he fits what Peyton wants to do and how he wants to do it. Man, I do think there is some young quarterbacks coming along. And you know what I think is interesting is the regenerated quarterbacks. They're finally finding that right fit. Seattle. Are you kidding me? I mean, Sam Darnold has been thrown away by about 4 teams. He gets to the right place a year ago with Kevin O'Donnell in Minnesota, plays really well. Then they don't like him because of his last 2 games, and now he's 10-3 in Seattle. Geno Smith was playing well. There's a whole bunch of quarterbacks that have been regenerated for former first-round picks that are playing at a good level. I call it, not an A level, but a B-plus level, a B level. And that's what we need more of. We need more of the really good B-plus quarterbacks. And I think the top 4 quarterbacks going in this year, I think 2 of them, Burrow and Lamar Jackson, have both been hurt. So I think that's one of the reasons in a lot of people's mind the quarterback class is down. But I'm kind of bullish on the future.
Mike Mayock joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show live at USAA Radio Row. We talked a lot about, draft and evaluation. You went broadcaster, general manager, back to broadcaster. How much did the broadcasting help you deal with the media as a general manager? And then how much did being a general manager, did it change anything on how you go into broadcasting? I mean, it was a kind of a interesting little transition there for those 3 groups. I mean, how much we talk about all the time with other sports helping other athletes. How did all these other jobs all under football help you with your other jobs?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I had an atypical path. And the thing that helped me the most, Braden, when I got to the NFL as a GM, was that my job at the NFL Network for close to 20 years was to be in all 32 NFL buildings, develop relationships, get to know the coaches and the GMs. I spent time on the roads. I never told people. I spent time on the road with scouts on my own. Just, I would go on a California road trip and go Northern California, start at Fresno and go down to, go through Stanford, whatever, go down to LA and out with a group of 5 or 6 scouts. Wouldn't tell anybody, but that's how I kind of made my bones. And, when you would see me on the NFL Network and talk about my draft coverage, but those are the reasons behind the fact that I got to know a lot of people who were way better at it than I was. And they gave me different philosophies and ways to look at it. And to me, that defines growth. How do you grow? So I learned a lot and had a different perspective when I got to be a GM, because I got to see a lot of guys do it really well in the NFL And I went in a lot of buildings where I didn't like it. And every year they're changing head coaches and GMs, and there's no continuity. And, so I had some pretty defined ways that I thought you develop culture. And I thought I learned it from being in positive buildings. And then coming back to broadcasting, I have a better appreciation for what the coaches and scouts go through. I mean, dude, I was in that building every morning at 5 a.m. and Gruden was there ahead of me. And I still don't know what time he got in because I never beat him into the building. A couple times I just couldn't sleep. I go in there 4:15. There's Gru sitting at his desk. Hey, Mike, where you been? It's 4:15 in the morning. So it gave me, and I knew, and Braden, being a coach's son, what they do. But having lived it, and the blood, sweat, and tears that goes beyond it. Like when I do an NFL game on the radio, I study my ass off. It matters to me. But when the game's over, I just go have a beer. But when you're a GM and you throw up in your mouth 3 times and, throughout the game because it means that much, it's different.
Yeah. What's it like watching games as a general manager? I mean, we've had John Lynch on a couple of times here because he's a San Diego guy. I mean, when you're the general manager and you're like watching as a broadcaster is different. You're like, oh, that was kind of like you look at the ins and outs, and then like you said, you go drink a beer. I mean, what's the stress? You can't do anything about it. You're not calling plays. You put the roster together and you got to watch them perform. I mean, that seems very, that's something not a lot of people obviously have been able to experience. What's it like watching a football game as a general manager?
If you're a type A, and most GMs are type A's, John Lynch is a very polite and respectful type A. I love John. He's really good. But when you sit up in a booth and you're not on the sidelines and you don't have any direct role on Sunday afternoon, it's hard. Way harder than I thought it would be. Way more emotional than I thought it would be. I mean, my last year there, we were 10-7. We went to the playoffs and we lost to the Bengals in the wild card round. And by the way, the Bengals went to the Super Bowl that year. And we had the ball on the 9-yard line with 4 shots to get it in the last minute of the game to beat the Bengals. And we didn't get it done. And I can tell you, it was just, A, it was excruciating. B, there was a whistle that was blown inadvertently, not in that series, but a little earlier in the game. And it cost us a touchdown. Our players stopped and because of the whistle. So there's all this stuff that goes on. And if you're a fan at home and you hear about the whistle and all the rest, you go, that's a tough break for the Raiders, but I got fired the next day, after a 10-7 season. So, it's people's livelihoods. And I think I learned to respect that even more.
Mike, I know you're very busy, man. I know you got a lot of different places to go today. Last thing for you, we got to talk about the Army-Navy game. What are you seeing in tomorrow's game? What's so important about this game for somebody that just loves football so much?
You know what? It's less about the football to me, and this is my 6th or 7th Army-Navy game, and it's more about what happens before the game and after the game. And before the game, they have the walk-on and the flyover. And I get every time I know it's coming, but I still get choked up. After the game, both teams walk down and sing each other's alma mater, arm in arm. So they've beaten the crap out of each other for 3 hours. And you look at that group and you know that someday they might be taking care of us, together. It's mind-boggling. It really is.
Great conversation with Mike Mayock today. I kind of, glitched out there for a little bit, but it's a fun time. It's a fun time at the at Media Row, Frank. And I know you've had a great day today. Now you get to maybe take a nap, clean up, get ready for a nice, fun dinner. Those dinners are the best. That's like the most fun. You're gonna have to mingle with the other radio shows for sure because it's fun to compare notes and get numbers from other. This is a good networking event out there at USAA's Media Row.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. And I think I got a couple of hours. I think the bus leaves at 7:30 or something like that. And it's just going right on the other side of the bay, pretty much right across from where we were broadcasting from yesterday. So it's not going far, and there's a lot of things to do on the way back. So thinking, definitely excited for it.
Maybe Pete Alonso will be there. I heard he was around. I heard he's walking around.
Yeah, he is currently across the street.
I gotta laugh. I gotta laugh like
literally
Kawhi Leonard on
across
that
the
deal.
street.
So
I mean,
great.
That's, that's what it is.
There it
Like I
is.
said, his Mets didn't offer. That's not on him. He's never mad at him. Never mad at the Orioles. All hate and anger goes towards the Mets and the fact that they once again could not hold on to a franchise player.
A lot of cool shows out there this week. Media Row. I mean, now they got podcasts and stuff. I was looking at the sheet, and if you want to see any of the stuff, Frank is posting pictures. They have the uniforms on display.
Not that I've seen. No, they had the trophy, but that's gone.
They usually have the uniforms up when they have the trophy out there.
No, I didn't see that. We've got a couple of shows still here. Most of the shows have already cleared out. But we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got like 8 shows, not including us, that are still going, and the rest of them have cleared out. A lot of the guests have cleared out. There's maybe like 1 or 2 of the guests that are still here, and then off and getting ready to go to the dinner.
There's a lot of cool. There's a couple of shows that have been there a long time that we've been able to get to know, and there's a lot of other. There's new or old, people that we met now at new stations that still go to Army Navy. It's always a fun time. So you're gonna have a great time. Make sure you go to the March On before. I know we've already talked about that.
Oh yeah,
should be a great time. You got to take.
Leaves tomorrow at 8 a.m.
So you got to take video and pictures for our social media accounts, especially when you're going to be on the field for most of the game, the beginning and at the final 4 minutes of the game. So it should be a fun time. I'll try to win you a state championship tonight. We'll try our best.
Yep, that would be good luck tonight. Definitely. You better win now that you sacrificed this trip for it. So that's on you.
I didn't really have too much of a choice on some of the flights, so
you did.
I'll let you know how it goes. We'll talk about it on Monday. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Yeah, it's true. Braden Surprenant Show. We'll talk to you guys on Monday.
Aaron Rodgers continues his